Okay.
Okay.
Alan,
And
okay.
we are live.
We are live.
Hold on, let me
Yet
make sure
again.
that's off.
Yeah, hide that.
Okay, so we
Stupid timer.
I know. So is anybody there?
Well,
so
we'll
we
have
got
to
two
wait.
people
Let us know.
so far.
Let us know if you can see and hear us.
Yeah.
As people start coming in here, somebody.
Okay, good. We got Kay Munin is here. Great to see you.
Yeah, Hobo's doing better. He still looks like a mess, but he's behaving a lot better.
No, he's not behaving. He's a bully.
But I mean, you know, his the way that he moves and everything. And
yeah. Oh, we lost our viewers. I guess now we got them back. YouTube had
no.
YouTube's running ads.
Hey, so. Lee. We got Lee here.
Hi, Lee.
Kay Munin asking about Hobo, and Hobo is being Hobo, bullying the rest of the cats.
Which is hilarious because he has no teeth.
He can't fight, so I don't know why he does things like that.
It's all about the image.
Yeah, maybe he's just trying to like overcompensate, you know.
Yeah.
Probably. Let me see what's going on here. We keep losing our people.
The numbers come up and then they go to 0 and come up again, and I'm wondering.
That's not a good sign.
I know. So
I'm not that scary. I didn't think I was that scary. I don't know.
Okay, so hold on. I think everything is good. I see a commercial going on. I just want to make sure. Okay, yeah, I see it. So everything is good to go. The picture and the sound are fine on my end. Okay, good. Because I was doing something with that silly
It might just be screwed, you know.
Yeah.
Their numbers are never accurate anyway.
Yeah. So, but yeah, again, we have Alan back in the studio. And tonight we're going to be looking at Batman books. His entire Batman collection, to include Detective Comics and Brave and the Bold.
I don't know if he can do that.
I know.
It's a big collection. I'm going to show you a bit of it. But there's a few books that I'm thinking about. I keep on thinking of more books that I wanted to show, but can't show because I don't know where the box is. I'm trying to remember.
You got this whole system set up so you can be more organized.
When you say system, you actually make it sound like it was planned out. It's not me just randomly stuffing things in different places. That's more accurate. Oh, man. Where did I put that?
No, it's fine. I'm pretty sure you got enough to
I got a lot
satisfy us for hours.
Yeah. I actually have like this book.
Hold on a minute. I'm gonna make you big.
No, I'm joking when I show this one.
Oh, what is it?
It just came out recently. It just it's Detective 27. It's the reprint of the original.
Oh,
and
okay.
There's an easy way you can tell. Is like down here you can see the barcode.
Yeah, you cut that part out.
Yeah, exactly.
You submit it to CGC.
Yeah, they're gonna.
I've seen people. What they do is they take something like this, and then they cut parts of it out, and like they put it in like coffee or something like that, and make it look old, and then they say, "Oh, it's from 1939."
Yeah.
But
great, Chance. How are you?
That's what happened to those Quick, Nestle Quick, the reprints of Superman that they did in the 70s.
Oh yeah, I've seen those a lot. And there's actually ways you can tell. There's like certain buildings that shouldn't be there and stuff like that, and there's like certain elements on top of the buildings that are not there in the reprints.
Mm-hmm.
They actually tried to make it so that it wasn't a complete copy of the original.
Yeah. It's unfortunate how that worked. Now, I'm sure you have seen, as has everybody else, that CGC has had a rate increase.
I'm actually going to be commenting that on my channel, but I can comment a little bit about it now if you want.
Well, I know that you don't get books graded, but still you got feelings and thoughts.
You get them already graded,
yeah,
right? Mostly.
So I usually because I'm in Canada, just shipping it to the US cost me a fortune, and then shipping it back costs a fortune. So I think the rate increases are creating opportunity. Actually, I actually see it as a good thing.
Really?
Yeah, the reason I say that is I think the problem is we almost have a monopoly system going on right now where it's just CGC. Everybody says, oh, it's only CGC that we can trust and so forth.
Yeah.
What's going to happen with the rate increases, it gives an opportunity.
Hey, Steve. Sorry.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Alan.
That's okay. It's okay. So my point is like, it gives like other companies an opportunity to kind of like, take advantage of the opportunity that's created. By,
that I agree with, and I hope that's the case, because you see a lot of people and they complain a lot about CGC, but then they refuse to use anybody else. And you got 3 other companies out there, probably more, but I know for sure you have 3 others out there that
their grading is comparable, because I crack slabs, and I know other people who do too. And you get, I've mentioned it before. I don't know if he still does it, but he used to buy PGX slabs on high-end ones pretty good on the cheap, and bust them and send them to CGC and get the same freaking grade. So it's like it's not that far off.
The only problem I would say with PGX is that sometimes they miss restoration. That's what I've heard. But as long as you know your books are not restored, and then you're fine. Actually, I used the only one that I actually self-submitted to of all the grading companies is PGX. They were the reason I chose them was I wanted my books encapsulated, and I didn't really care which company I used. I just wanted to use the most affordable company.
Yeah.
And PGX is way more affordable.
Yeah.
And they're faster too.
They're faster, and you can actually call them, and they answer the phone, and they're very responsive.
EGS also. EGS, if you call them, they'll answer.
The only problem is I'm not sure much about EGS. I don't really like their labels. First of all, I think they look a little childish. I don't know if that's the right word for it.
You don't have to get those custom labels. They do just the regular,
they have a generic,
standard,
like universal blue label.
Yeah. Okay. But the majority of people like their custom labels, so I think that's why a lot of people use them.
Yeah.
Because of the custom label.
I don't really like the custom labels that they have. I think they're very clip art-ish. You know what I mean? It doesn't look like. I think CGC actually custom labels look the best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Custom labels, it's like whatever. But I like that the other 3 companies use one standard grading system. They use the Overstreet. Yeah. Unlike CGC, they got their own book, and then it doesn't look like they even stick to that.
I've talked to a couple of people about that book, and their take on it is the book is very confusing and doesn't actually tell you. They don't give you a solid concept of how the grading's being done.
Well,
excuse me.
What I heard is that CGC will look at a book and then deduct from it, like anything, so you'll say, all books are 9.8, and then it's basically what flaws are taking away from it from being a 9.8. So then it's very hard to get above a 9.8 as a result, but it's easy to go below a 9.8 as a result. So whereas the other ones will say, okay, this is what a 6.0 is, this is what a 7.0 is, and they'll look to see if the book meets those guidelines. Whereas CGC, it's more of a deduction kind of system where, you don't make the grade because you've been, you have a spine split or, whatever it is, and it just deducts to whatever grade you get it as a result. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
No, it makes sense, but then they don't always give you grader notes. So you get, like, we were watching a video yesterday, and a guy got an 8.5, and it didn't have grader notes. So he put in like a ton of books. It was more than 25, but he got them all back. And then every book that was 8.5 and above had no grader notes. So he had a few.
Yeah, he was frustrated.
Yeah, he had a few that were less than an 8.5. They had grader notes. Yeah. But if it was an 8.5 and above, he had no grader notes. And, he's looking at it like, well, why did this book? Because some of them were in really good shape. Some of them he could see, oh, okay, I missed this. But then it was a couple, he couldn't find anything.
Like what they used to do is like they would give grader notes. Like if it looked like if it looked like it was a 9+ and you get an 8.5, they would say, oh, you missed that one corner is bent, or one, they would say like what was the thing that brought it down that significant amount. Yeah, that's what they used to do in the past, at least.
Yeah, but a lot of people now watching their videos, they're saying they're not even getting it. And I think their new book says that they won't give you grader notes for like a 9.2 and above or something like that.
Yeah, I think that's.
Oh wow.
That's right.
So, it just seems fishy. I'm not a fan of grading anyway, but it feels fishy. If you can't have one standard and then follow it, it's like, well, why did I get this? You know what I mean? And you can't tell me why. You can't show me a picture, circle it on a piece on a computer or something to let me know what went wrong. Because a lot of people, they're sending a book, oh yeah, this is a 9.8, and then they get it back a 9.2, and it's like, well, I'm gonna crack it and send it back. Well, you just threw away the money you paid.
Well, but the thing is, it can be worth it. Like they always talk about the ghost census because of that, where people are resubmitting the same book like until they get the 9.8. And then you get the census that says there's 100 copies on the census, but it's really maybe 20.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the same book. It's been resent in.
The only thing the one thing that I really don't like in CGC, I think is the only one that does it, is that percentage scale for higher end books.
Yeah, I think that's a BS.
Oh yeah, I really don't like that. 4%. Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah, and it's like that. No one else does that. I don't think so, right? I don't think any of the other grading do that.
CBCS does. Like they take a percentage. I think it's like 2% or something like that, or 3%.
Yeah, well, it's not
that can get up there. That can get up there. I mean, if you're submitting a really high-end golden age book, you could be into them for a few $1,000s.
Yeah,
that's annoying.
In a weird way, it makes me feel the whole grading process is bogus in the first place. So if it's the case that when you grade a book that you use a standard, right? Well, the same standard would apply to any comic, right? So if it's a modern book that just came out today, or if it's a book that came out 20 years ago, but it's not really a valuable book, a dollar bin book, or 40 years ago and it's a dollar bin, or if it's $1 million book, the same standard should apply across the board, right?
Yeah.
Because that's what grades are about. It's about creating that standard. Well, it should be no more difficult to grade those cheap books than it is to grade an expensive book. So why are you charging a percentage at that point?
Yeah. And that's the point. It's like, if you have one standard, like we said earlier, the Overstreet and the other 3 companies are using Overstreet as their standard. That one standard should cover all bases, no matter what size of book, how old a book is. We have this one standard that we follow, but then when you start making up your own rules, then it's like, well, how do you know what's what? And what am I really paying for you to say something different than this other guy, and you're not even following your own standards,
That also feeds into how it is that people will pay an extra premium for a CGC book. So for another one, like if you have a CGC graded 9.8 versus a PGX 9.8, you're going to get more for the CGC, but that's partially because they may have paid more for it. Because if you got
that's true,
an ASM 300 graded by both of them, they're gonna, if they hit a 9.8, they're gonna tack that extra price on you. PGX won't. And then, so now you, as the seller, you've got to try to justify it. And people have just
the difference between the 3 is, I think, branding at the end of the day. Like, PGX has the worst brand. CBCS has the second worst brand, and CGC has the best brand. Everyone thinks that they're the gold standard for some reason. The one thing that I would say is if they're going to charge like if you get like a book that's like $100,000 book, some expensive book, and you're paying like $4,000 just to get it graded, they should do something special for you in that case. I think they should, the slab that you get should prevent UV damage. It should, it should be like a upscale thing. You know what I mean? Like, and if they're going to charge 4%, any book that charges that 4% should get an upscale slab, protector. I think that would make sense. And then you feel a little bit better about the fact that, you're getting ripped off.
Yeah, but is that slab $4,000? You know what I mean? I get what you're saying.
I almost see it as like the same thing that happens with real estate, right? So the reasoning behind it is that CGC sees itself as kind of like a real estate agent. So real estate agents, when you sell a house with them, you sell based on them getting a percentage of the value of the house, usually 2-3%, right? Well, CGC sees itself the same way. It's saying, well, we are adding value to your book because we're establishing that it's either complete or if it's restored or if it's of a certain grade. And that will help you when you sell your book. So I think that's their philosophy, that they're coming in as real estate agents in a weird way, that they think that they're adding value to your book of $4,000 if it's a $100,000 book or whatever. They're adding that much value to your book. Whether that's true or not, that's another question. But show me an error comic in your collection. Actually, what's funny? I'm just about to get an error book. Actually, 2 error books coming in the mail in the next Stackery unboxing. And one of them is not even considered an error. It's the Batman by Todd McFarlane, 423. That's an error.
Oh, the one with the red cover and the yellow moon and all of that?
Yeah, that's actually got an error on it.
Oh.
So if you look at the moon on the Batman 423, it's all yellow, right? Well, okay. But there's one corner where the colorist colored it red. So there's like a little piece of it where it's red instead of being yellow. So that's the error. No. But they actually fixed it recently. There was a reprint that happened at one of the comic convention versions of it where it's the bright yellow all the way around. But the original first 3 printings all had that same error, that the moon is colored incorrectly.
That's one of those books that's been homaged too many times.
Yeah. But it's funny that it has that mistake on it. Another error book that I'm getting is Dazzler #1. There's like some printing error inside of it where I think the page is not like, it's like a weird color, or they didn't have a certain ink and it's just like a weird color. So I'm getting that. It's in the mail. So yeah, but I don't have many error comics handy, like where I can just say, oh, okay, there's my error comic. Here you go. Yeah, but those are the ones I can think of off the top of my head.
Okay, that's cool. Let's see some books.
Okay,
let's see some books. Okay, so I'll start out with some of the Golden Age because everyone knows me for Golden Age, but then I'm gonna show more modern stuff. So we got this is my earliest Batman book. This is Batman #3. And this is what I consider to be the first appearance of Catwoman.
Okay.
Because if you read Batman 1 and 2, Selina Kyle is in those books. And there's newspapers that they're reading in those books where they're talking about the cat and the cat is like burglarizing people, but they never show the cat, and you know, she's never actually referred to as Catwoman. It's in this book where the story is actually Catwoman, and you see her in suit, in her costume, which is really, really lame. It's like basically, it's like just somebody wearing a cat mask. That's the costume. It's like the dumbest costume ever. But this is what I consider to be the first appearance of Catwoman, or at least it's considered to be the first appearance of Catwoman in costume.
Okay. So is she on a lot of pages, or is it like just a cameo?
Yep. No, it's a full appearance.
Okay.
Now, it wasn't until Batman 35, this one, where she appears in costume. The costume that we recognize today, the kind of more sexy version of Catwoman. Okay, so this is Batman 35. And then in Batman 42, we see her on the cover.
Okay, that's her first cover appearance?
This is her first cover appearance in Batman. She actually made her earlier cover appearance in Detective Comics, but this came out a little bit later. But you know, that's more the Catwoman that we know. You know, the purple costume, and you know,
that skirt must have really gotten in the way while she was breaking in and out of people's homes.
Yeah. It's kind of a not a very good cat burglar kind of costume.
No. And then you know, you jumping around, swinging on ropes and stuff, and that skirt flying in the air.
Oh, it'd be very distracting for anyone underneath her. So yeah, it might be good. So that's so I generally collect based on characters that I like. So I generally I'll go after so another character that and I generally go after female characters because I like collecting good girl art. So this is another one, Detective Comics 359. I like this one because it's like, you know, you have the character on the cover. You have the character kind of like doing this kind of intro thing, you know. So this is from 1967. It's nice silver.
Yeah, that's book. DC Comics catching up with the show because she was written for the show, but she wasn't in comics yet.
Yeah, exactly. And then we got another character that also appeared in that same era.
Poison Ivy.
Poison Ivy.
Peter Pan.
Is she?
Yeah, she looks like Peter. I always thought she looked like Peter Pan too. And she has the shadow.
Yeah. Or the Jolly Green Giant's wife.
There you go.
Yeah, it kind of looks like that too. That's a good point.
He is a plant.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, that actually makes sense. Maybe you've unlocked some secret truth or something.
There we are.
So yeah, beware of Poison Ivy. So yeah. And then another kind of moving forward in time, we got Harley Quinn. So I'm a big Harley Quinn fan too. So yeah, actually I should have brought another book. There's another book I should have brought. I realized. I actually have Harley Quinn's first appearance.
Oh, the Golden Book.
You got to catch them. It's like a little square book. That she actually made her first appearance in that before this book.
Okay.
So yeah, so this is Harley Quinn. And then so in that same vein, I kind of liked the whole Batman Adventures TV series.
Yeah.
That's what, well, I was into Batman before that, but it really kind of made me go after certain characters. So this is, you know, Batman Adventures Mad Love. This is like just the one shot. But I believe this is the first time that she's in continuity. Origin of Harley Quinn outside of DC continuity. Yeah. And then we got, but during that show, the character that I liked the most was actually.
Oh wow! I love that.
That was to me that was the best episode. Was the one with Mr. Freeze.
They redid that cover in the new one shot Batman One Bad Day.
Yeah, One Bad Day. They homage this one. But this is like Bruce Timm.
Mm-hmm.
I was a big fan of so I'm kind of doing this one in a weird way. I'm gonna show you but I like the original.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So the interesting thing is this is not Mr. Freeze. So this is considered to be the first appearance of Mr. Freeze, but it's actually Mr. Zero.
Mm-hmm.
And it is the same character. And there's actually an earlier appearance of Mr. Freeze earlier than this. I think it's in like Black Hawk. Mm-hmm. I have it somewhere, but I didn't bring it. Where he's called Mr. Freeze, and he has the same kind of style. But he wasn't considered to be a Batman character. He was like a dark Black Hawk character. So this is the first appearance of Mr. Freeze, but called Mr. Zero, and he wasn't called Mr. Freeze until much later.
DC loves those like Freeze characters. They got a bunch of them.
We'll come back to your question out of sight. We'll stop and then come back to your question.
Yeah. I'll show these and then I can answer whatever question. Okay. So this is when Mr. Freeze got named Mr. Freeze.
Okay.
This is Detective Comics 373.
Yeah.
So this is from 1968. So this was actually the first time he was called Mr. Freeze. All before this, he was Mr. Zero. So yeah, I go into those I like those kind of characters. So what was the question? Something about Airboy?
Yeah, it's behind you, I guess, on your right, that Airboy back there.
Yeah.
He wants to know, is that Judge Dredd?
No. That was way before Judge Dredd.
Okay.
But I can show it. This one? I'm gonna guess this one.
Yeah, I'm guessing that's what he's talking about, because that's the only Airboy I see.
Yeah, that's a great bondage cover.
Yeah,
too.
I like that one. You showed that the other day on one of the videos. I can't remember, but
somebody asked me to show it was on my Q&A video.
Yeah,
somebody asked me to show all my Airboy comics, so I showed this one.
And I like how they got him all blindfolded. He doesn't know she's there.
Yeah, it's a really cool cover actually. But this is long before Judge Dredd. Judge Dredd is like 80s, and this is like 1940s. I forget when this is from. 1940. So yeah.
Marvel Man, Miracle Man.
Yeah. So what was I going to say? So I'll show some more. Let me just show some other.
Yeah, LPH loves the old Batman titles.
Yeah, I'll show another old one since you guys like the old stuff. This is kind of a major one. This is the first time you get the bat signal on the cover. Mm-hmm. And it's also where his origin is retold. So this is the one where, if you look at all the movies, mm-hmm. where they have the scene where, they're walking out of the movie theater and, their mugger comes out and kills the mother and father, and poor Bruce Wayne is there crying. Well, this is that story. And also the story, it kind of goes a bit further than that and actually has it where it reveals who was the murderer of his parents.
Who was the murderer?
I was just some thug.
Okay. Nobody particular?
No, it wasn't like the Joker or anything.
They turned it into a mystery later.
Yeah. So, okay. but So Batman 47. This book actually, had a big sale recently.
Joe Cool kills them.
Yeah.
Snoopy?
Yeah, Snoopy kills them.
Oh man.
But DC does that because they changed the origin of Superman also, because if you watch the Superman cartoon,
the original Fleischers.
Yeah, he came to Earth. Well, his spaceship crashed, and then they found him and turned him into the government.
They dumped him into an orphanage.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
really?
He
didn't get to go with the parents.
There were no Kents. He grows up in an orphanage.
Yeah.
And then goes on to college or whatever.
Yeah, and becomes the reporter and Superman.
He doesn't. There is no Kent story or anything. That was created later.
Yeah.
So I think maybe that came out of Superboy then.
Probably.
Because Superboy, if you read the first Superboys, it's all like him coming to Earth and being raised by the Kents who really don't know how to raise a Superboy. And they tell it's in Superboy number 2 that you get the first appearance of Smallville.
Okay. Yeah, because in the Superman cartoon, he does land. I think he does land in Smallville, but the family that finds him, the people that find him, turn him into the government.
Yeah, turn him over to the
social worker. Yeah. I keep saying government. The social worker, and they put
same idea.
Found some kid in the field. Here you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I suppose some writer at DC occurred to him that he probably wouldn't have grown up with such tremendous moral structure.
Yeah.
I think he would have been like a super evil weapon kind of thing.
Yeah.
That would have been a really bad decision. So okay, the only problem is I have a whole bunch of books around me.
Oh no,
we don't hear it.
Somebody said
they're getting an echo.
Yeah,
there's a little bit of a feedback noise I hear, but actually I was going to bring the first appearance of Mad Hatter.
Okay, hold on a minute. Mickey B.
I got a return copy.
This is actually interesting. I actually bought this very cheaply from an auction at my comic shop, and I knew that it was, I knew that it was like this.
Sure.
But the thing that I was surprised by was the grade.
Yeah, 1.5. That's surprising with that torn off top piece.
Exactly.
It does look really clean though.
Oh, it's a very sharp copy. It's actually a really nice copy. It's just that it has that slice at the top. Usually if it has that, it's a 0.5. Oh, thank you. Yeah. Thank you, Stephen. So yeah.
Coming from Stephen, that means a lot.
Yeah, he's a way more impressive collection. Okay, so this is, I don't know. I just thought it was interesting that it's a 1.5 instead of a 0.5. But it is very sharp. You can see that it's an incredibly sharp copy. Actually, the back is really reasonably nice too. I'm not sure if you can see that, but it looks nice in person.
And I mean, like, oh, hold on, because I'm, looking at that. Hold on a minute, second.
Can you pull it back up again? Here,
no, you don't have to hold it back up. But like looking at that, normally,
like this, you would say, "Oh, that's perfect."
Yeah. But normally you would see that, like you said, at a 0.5. So I wonder why did it get a 1.5? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. That's what I was kind of curious about. Usually by default, if it's a remainder copy, it's a
I guess other than just that, if you look inside, maybe the pages are white and pristine and everything is perfect except for that cutoff piece.
Yeah, I don't think it's off-white pages inside, actually, it says. Mm-hmm. But actually, if you look at the top, I'm not sure if you can see it, but if you look at the top, it looks almost tanned because it didn't have the cover to protect it. So I imagine it's like tanned here, and then, like much better page quality where the cover was protecting.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm really into my first appearances. So here's another kind of first appearance.
Oh wow! Look at that.
This is the first appearance of Batwoman.
Mm-hmm.
Kathy Kane, and she was actually. I really like her story, her origin. They really wanted to make Batman non-gay.
Mm-hmm.
So they created this. They created her as a love interest for Batman.
And this is before Batgirl. What's the difference between her and Batgirl?
So she was just a different character.
Oh
like
yeah,
Batgirl is almost kind of like Robin in a weird way. Like, almost that sidekick level kind of character, whereas she's more of an independent woman. In the story, actually, if you read it, it's like she basically is getting like solving all the problems before Batman and Robin can show up. So Batman and Robin will come to some call, and then she's already solved everything. She's already saved everybody, and so they're all upset. Yeah, it's lame. Like she's all. So they're all upset that she's like getting all the cool. She's doing all the work, and they're kind of upset about it.
She set the template for all of the modern Marvel films.
Basically. But the funny thing is, they made her gay later, right? So that's kind of, which is interesting.
Or DC films as well, I should say, because they're both following that format, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, it was around the 2000s that they kind of started making all the characters a little bit more down that path, right?
Yeah.
And then here's another kind of a cool book that I really like. So this is Detective Comics 371. And actually, so this is like during the 60s, right?
Yes.
And the Batman show was like kind of going on. And what they did was the Batmobile in the original comics, if you look at it, it's very different than the one that's in the TV series.
Yeah.
So they basically wanted to make the comic more reflect the TV series more. So this one has the first appearance of the Batmobile from the TV series, if that makes sense.
Sure.
It's like, yeah. But I just liked it because it's a sexy cover. Like she's like, you see Batman and Robin kind of getting beaten up in the background. And then she's worried about her stocking being ripped. That's all she cares about.
Well, you got to have priorities.
I think it's just a cute cover. Right? So, and speaking of cute covers, this is not a Batman title, but it is a Batman-related book.
Oh yeah, first Silver Age.
Silver Age Catwoman. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I just think it's a really cute cover. You got the cat fight going on, and then you got
like a little kryptonite cage for the Super Cat there.
Yeah. Well, Superman's been turned into Super Cat. Yeah.
I have that book. I just pressed and cleaned one recently.
So what's funny? When I got this book, I bought a 2.0 copy and didn't really present that well. And then I went on to Heritage. There was a Heritage auction for this book, and I paid just a little bit more than I did for the 2.0.
Oh wow!
So I was like, oh, why not?
You caught it on the downswing.
Yeah, and then after that, I think I paid $100 or $200 for this book. Now it's like in the high hundreds or maybe more.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
You can't see.
Oh yeah.
That's a really good price. I picked mine up at a show. I got mine pretty cheap because it was. I don't know if you saw that video. I showed a restoration on that one. It was absolutely filthy, and it had like deep indentations in it. I get a lot of work out of that one.
All right, I was just grabbing some more books. The box is pretty deep, so I have just so you know, so to give you a sense of how many Batman books I have one long box of raw books, and then I have a short box, 2 short boxes with my extra Batman. Then I have another short box with all my Catwoman.
Oh, wow.
And then I have 3 boxes with all my slabs for Batman.
So, wow.
So it's about 90 slabs and like whatever number of comics. It's like a lot.
So how far away are you from getting a complete run of Batman? Like up
not
to
even close. No, not even close.
Right. I mean, gold and silver.
So what I'm not really into, like certain series like Wonder Woman. I'm trying to get I did get the complete run of Wonder Woman. I managed to finish that off. But Batman, I just never had the interest to get the whole run for some reason.
You just want keys?
Yeah, I just went for all the key appearances. I kind of go for all the key appearances rather than going for the run.
Okay.
There are certain stories that I want to get the complete run of. Mm-hmm. Like, one sec. Do I have it handy? One sec here. Okay, it's not handy. One sec here. I'm trying to look for a book that I was just going to mention. You know, like Death in the Family. I have that complete run, for example. Mm-hmm. Like Dark Knight Rising, or what is it called? The one where it's like, Batman is kind of, he's gotten his back broken, and
that's that Bane one. I have that.
Yeah, Legends of the Dark Knight, I believe it's called, or something.
No, I think that's Nightfall.
Nightfall. Yeah.
I
was going like I was spitballing until I could remember the name. Thank you. I was like, yeah. That was like the first Batman series that I read. Mm-hmm. Like that was back in the 90s. Like, I really liked that series. I just like the fact that he's kind of like rehabilitating himself. He's just like kind of getting back into the Batman mode. Yeah. And he has to go through that phase where he has to fight all these different assassins and different people and, kind of rebuild himself. And I don't know.
Yeah.
And then there's Azrael and all these kind of weird characters that are.
I have a couple of the Azrael books. I just read the Batman Damned, the third one, because I got the third one in one of the lots we just bought out. And that one is good. So I want to read the others.
The artwork in it is really well done, actually.
Yeah. It's a good storyline. Well, from just the third book, it looks like it's a good story.
So just to answer the Nightwing question, I do have Nightwing. I didn't bring it.
Yeah, because we asked for a Batman book, so I guess that was
actually is related. He's he's very connected. But I do have the first appearance of Nightwing. I have some of his key books, and I have a bunch of Nightwing stuff, but I didn't bring it.
But K Munin, if you ask that question, put it on one of the comments on his channel on Wednesday. He'll show
Wednesday's channel.
Wednesday question and answer, and people usually ask to see a certain book or specific title, and he'll pull them out and show it. So if you go to his channel, go on one of the videos, the most recent video, I guess, and write that question, and he'll show it Wednesday.
So Wonder Woman is awesome. Do you have any of the crossover comics? I'm just thinking about that. Wonder Woman comes into the Batman title.
The only crossovers I could think with like Wonder Woman is Justice League and stuff like that.
Justice League. The only one I can think of that is Batman and Wonder Woman is they did sort of like these Batman 67s or Batman 66s or whatever it's called. It's like sort of like a modern book where it looks like it's been done in the 60s. Do you know what I'm talking about?
One is I forget what number it is. Detective Comics' first appearance of Copperhead, the villain, Batman villain Copperhead. I just remember the storyline because
Wonder Woman's in that.
Yeah, Wonder Woman, and for some reason he figures that he could draw Copperhead out if Wonder Woman and Batgirl pretend like they're both in love with him and fighting over him. But then Wonder Woman, when she jumps on him and kisses him, decides that she actually likes him, and then it creates this whole other problem. It's just a really weird storyline. But yeah, first appearance of Copperhead, she's in that issue.
Okay, is that a Batman or a detective title?
I'm trying to remember if it was because I've got it too. It's upstairs.
I'll have to look at that. I'll have to look. I don't think I have it actually. I know the character, but I just don't have their first appearance. I was going to show you some more Silver Age stuff.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's Brave and the Bold.
Oh, Brave and the Bold.
Yeah, I looked it up really quick. It's it's an issue of Brave and the Bold.
So this is the first Penguin in the Silver Age.
Oh, okay.
I always like this cover because it's got a dragon on it. So yeah, so this is first Silver Age Penguin. I don't know. There's actually a cover I like more than this. I'm not sure if I brought it, but it might have.
It's not even a bird. That doesn't count.
Do you have the one where he's on the battlefield giving the soldier the gun?
No, I know the one you're talking about.
You know the one I'm talking about? Yeah. Oh, come on, Alan.
I'm sorry. I'm so busy collecting Good Girls that I don't have those kind of cool Batman ones. Then we got this is the first super Batgirl. This is the first Batgirl. So this is Batgirl. What's her name? I forgot her name. Betty Kane. Betty Kane.
I thought Batgirl was that guy, the commissioner's daughter.
That's a different.
This is a different one. That's Barbara Gordon.
Yeah. So Barbara Gordon wasn't the first Batgirl?
No, this is the first one. She was blonde, and that's what she looked like.
Yeah. Okay.
I kind of like this style in a way. It's kind of like a little bit Golden Age style almost.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So this is from 1961. So I don't know. I thought it was cool. And I don't know, like my books are not in really great order. So they're all like Silver Age, randomness, and like Silver Age and Bronze Age all mixed together. Here, I'm going to show you another. This is actually kind of a major one.
Oh, look at that. The Trojan horse.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is the second appearance of Batwoman.
Okay.
And it's the first appearance in this title. So she originally appeared in Detective Comics. This is her first appearance in Batman. So, and as I said, I go for the girls more than I do for the guys. So it's kind of weird. But I do have some cool first appearances of guys. I guess this would be the first appearance of the League of Assassins.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is a Neil Adams cover from 1970.
That's a nice one. I like that cover.
And then some more guys would be, this is one that I really liked, recent one. This is the origin of the Batman Who Laughs.
Oh, okay.
So, I don't know. And then we got the first appearance of the Batman Who Laughs.
Oh, and Teen Titans?
Yeah, Teen Titans 12. So, and then this is just another iconic cover.
Yeah. That's a nice one.
Another Neil Adams cover. And then, what else do I got handy? And then speaking of kind of iconic covers, this is a more modern one. I just like this Adam Hughes. See, as I said, I go for more like the Good Girl stuff. So this is Catwoman from 2006.
She looks like the General Zod's assistant from Superman 2.
Very much so. I kind of thought she was sexy too. Like kind of the same.
Forget what her name is.
I'm trying to remember actually. I do know it. It's on the tip of my tongue. But yeah, she was kind of wearing that kind of slinky kind of like leather suit in the movie, right?
Yeah, even the haircut. I mean, it kind of really resembles.
Very similar. This is a little bit more sexy though, I would say. But yeah, so this is Adam Hughes, and then another sort of iconic Batman cover. Ursa? Is it Ursa?
Ursa, right? I think it's Ursa.
Oh yeah, I've seen that one a lot.
So I always thought this was a great cover.
Nomsky.
What's wrong with you, Nomsky?
And
I have a question for you, Alan.
Sure.
What's your thought on movies dictating the price of books?
So I actually did a bunch of I'm doing like a weekly show right now, right? Where I'm talking about Golden Age pricing.
Yeah, we saw the one today.
The one today?
I think she means how like people spec. Somebody's gonna.
Yeah. No, it'll make sense. I have a tendency of doing a roundabout way of answering.
You're okay.
So the reason I brought that up is there was one episode where I kind of was looking at Shazam related books or Black Adam related books.
Yeah.
And what happened was these were Golden Age books that had sort of spiked and dropped after the movie didn't quite perform as well. So generally what I've noticed, you always see that same pattern, right? Like a trailer will get dropped and then the price goes up for certain characters, or there's an announcement and certain characters will go up. My opinion is that, that's part of the fun of collecting comics. The only thing is the movies have to live up to that expectation.
Yeah.
So if you if you're going to gamble on a certain character, whatever character it is, you have to gamble nowadays whether you think the movie is going to be good or not. And I think the best gamble you can make nowadays, based on the quality of movies, is to say buy it 6 months after the movie comes out.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter how high it goes up. It will be less than whatever the original price for that book was. It'll go down that much.
Spec price.
Yeah. So, but if there have been a few exceptions to that, where, as I was mentioning with the Golden Age, what you'll find is they'll actually kind of spike up, but they will not go back down as much as like the modern keys, like the ones that, and the reason for that is they're characters that have a collector's audience already built in. That's from 80 years ago. Like it's built in for that long. So so what ends up happening is it becomes like the floor for those books gets pulled up even by the speculation. So, for example, Captain Marvel Family #1, which is the first appearance of Black Adam, that book, you could have picked it up 3 years ago for maybe $1,000 for a low grade, like a 2, 3. Okay. Now that same book, after when the movie was announced and when there was all that hype about it, it went up to maybe a $10,000 book for the same kind of grade level. Okay. So it went from 1,000 to 10,000, pretty big jump. But now you can probably buy that book for around 6,000 to 7,000. So it has come back down, but still the floor has gone up a lot from the speculation. So, that's what I see with the Golden Age, where it's more of established characters. There's not going to be that. There is volatility in terms of the speculation, but it doesn't. You don't see what you see with some of these books, like the Eternals. The Eternals, the books have gone down so much that you could have bought them cheaper now than you could have 20 years ago. You know what I mean? It's like it doesn't even make sense kind of level. So there are that kind of situation nowadays where these modern characters actually become less valuable after a bad movie comes out.
Yeah. But
well, you got more people that are buying them that don't really care.
They only buying it to sell.
It's completely an investment. They don't. They're not collectors. They don't enjoy the hobby. They don't know the stories. So you see a lot of that speculative collector, not so much spec buying, but literally a speculative collector, because you see it in toys too.
Yeah.
That's why I make the argument probably half of Funko Pop collectors are speculative collectors, because they think it's going to be worth a lot,
Yeah.
And even they say that within that community. It's like a lot of the people in this, they don't get it.
I consider myself a bit of a speculator collector, actually. Like I get excited about, this is the first appearance of some random character I never heard of before. I do find myself getting into that a bit, and there is that temptation, right?
Yeah, but you actually enjoy the hobby, though. You're not.
I enjoy the hobby.
You're not purely doing it based off of, oh, this will be worth something.
Yeah, I'm gonna be a millionaire because I'm gonna have 5 of these.
Well, I do have a Death of Superman, so I know I'm pretty much set, so I don't have to worry. And I do have my Spawn #1. I have 3 copies of it, so I'm pretty much certain to have a good retirement.
But do you have Spider-Boy?
I do have Spider-Boy.
No.
Yeah, I saw that video.
Did you?
He did a video.
See? I'm lame. Okay, I told you I'm lame. I follow. I get stuck into FOMO all the time. So yeah. No. I as I said, that to me is part of the fun.
Yeah.
The speculation, like, in a way, I grew up in terms of comic collecting in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that was the first time that I could buy whatever I wanted, and I didn't know what to buy. And so at the time, it's just like nowadays, like it's all hype and, you know, this is the hottest book. Oh my goodness, it's on the shelf. Oh my goodness, it must be something. It's gold foil. It's a gold foil. It's Turok #1. You know, there was that hype, and in a way, I love that time period. You know, there was even though it was stupid, you know, it was fun stupid. You know what I mean? Like there was a bit of silliness to it all, and it was fun. Yeah. And so even now, like when I see that there's a lot of hype around some book, like the Spider-Boy one, I enjoy that. I actually find that fun. And I find that I love the roller coaster of it because, you know, it's a dollar bin book. It's a dollar bin book, and I'm saying this even though I paid more than $1 for it. But just watching that roller coaster where it goes up to like $200 one day, and then, like, you know, 6 months later, it's now down to that dollar bin book again. You know, it's fun watching that roller coaster. It's fun seeing it go all over the place, and you know, I enjoy that. So to me, that's part of the fun of the hobby.
When you get those speculations, though, like let's say a Batman, I don't know, does Batman still go up when there's a new movie? I'm just using that as an example.
Because quite frankly, it seems like 80% of the time it's a Marvel title.
I'll give you a title. I'll give you an example of a Marvel book, not Marvel book, a DC book that went up because of the movie. This is Batman Year One.
Oh yeah, I have that.
So this is like an example of a book that went up a lot because people thought, oh, the movie that's going to come out with what's his name, Patterson.
Yeah.
They thought it was going to be based on Year One, right? And it turned out it was Year 2. You know, like, so this book became really hot and everyone wanted it, and you know, it was like kind of a cool book to get. And then it didn't. So this, you know, the weird thing though is what I've noticed with the difference between Marvel hype and DC hype is that with Marvel hype, the prices go crazy. They just shoot to the moon, right? They just go and go. With DC hype, they go up. They definitely do go up. You'll see that little spike, but nowhere near as big. So when things are not quite what people expect, they don't drop as dramatically. So, you know, DC is much more stable in that respect. Whereas Marvel is like really you know, it's super high and then super low the next day. So I'm not sure if you've seen that as well, but you know, that's something I've noticed. That the hype doesn't really negatively impact the DC books as much.
Yeah. We got a question for you. What brought you to the Golden Age, and what is your first Golden Age book?
I'm trying to remember what my first Golden Age book was. I can think of what my first Platinum Age book was because I got that when I was a kid. I actually know what my first Golden Age book is. I just had to remember it. So when I was a kid, I really liked Creepshow and you know, Tales of the Crypt and all that kind of stuff. So I went to a Comic-Con back in the early 90s, and I was like, oh, do you have Tales from the Crypt? Do you have Tales from the Crypt? I was like going around asking people for Tales of the Crypt or any EC title, right? Like anything. Because in Canada, it's actually during the 90s, it was almost impossible to get Golden Age stuff. Like it was really, really hard. There was not many shops that had Golden Age.
Mm-hmm.
So when I went to this convention, I was pestering everybody asking about Golden Age. And somebody said, "Oh yeah, here's some Golden Age, stupid kid." They just
gel. They're like, a lot of gel and gold key.
Yeah, no. So what the book that they gave me, the book that I got was EC book. It's not a bad one. It's not a, it's probably worth about 4 or 5 times what I paid for it. I paid like $20.
Okay.
It's like, it was a reasonable one, and it's just like, but it wasn't anything exciting or anything. It's just like I have it somewhere. It's just. It's I actually saw it. Somebody was selling it for about 200 for the same grade, so I think I did okay actually. But that was the first book I bought. That was it's not a super cool book. What
book was it?
I'm trying to remember. It's either I think it's Tales of the Crypt or yeah, it's like Tales of the. I'm pretty sure it's Tales of the Crypt or like Weird Science or one of those ones. It's like. Okay.
Yeah, the Comic-Cons have gotten really commercial, especially the big ones. The major ones, the little local ones are still pretty good.
They've lost their roots.
Yeah, but the big ones,
they're not even Comic Cons anymore.
No, they're not. They're more like just a like a place just to advertise in like one big commercial, and all of these celebrities come and talk, and I don't even know what you talk about on those panels, but they do the panels and stuff like that.
They talk about what they're allowed to talk about based on whatever they're doing, and then maybe you can get a photo for $400. It's just it's gotten pretty bad.
Yeah. Well, the way they have a huge Comic-Con here in not here in Toronto anymore. Like I'm in Ottawa, but in Toronto they have a big one where we have like the Toronto Convention Metro Center. It's like a big building. It's actually 2 buildings.
Mm-hmm.
So one building, it used to be that it was all comics right across both buildings. And some people related to the comics, like the artists and stuff like that. But now one building is dedicated to signatures. Like it's all like, when I say signatures, it's not comic related stuff. It's movies, like movies and TV series, that kind of stuff. All those people in one building. And then the other building is Funko Pops, like swords, like random art pieces,
flea market stuff.
Yeah.
And then they all then there's a small section that's devoted to comic artists and like independent artists, and then the bigger artists. And then there's a very small section that's actually selling comic books. So it's really gotten squished down. But that's it's no longer a comic. Comics. Now they call it Fan Expo. It's not even called comics anymore. It used to be Toronto Comic Con.
Yeah, it's all called Fan Expo now, and that's everywhere.
And a lot of the big ones are all being bought out by the same large companies, and they have that format, this nerd culture concept, where they try to lump everything together, because from their perspective and their earnings, we're all the same, and it's not true. You can't even break it up properly at a convention. They've got everything just kind of randomly mixed together. And if I wanted arts and crafts, I'd go to the flea market. I didn't come to the show to see like woodwork and beads and.
Yeah, it's really weird. Like that's what you see. You get these like really weird things that have nothing to do with comics whatsoever. I'm not a big fan of that. Actually, I think flea markets can be better. Because what generally happens at flea markets is people are like, oh, I got a whole bunch of these stupid comics I want to get rid of. And they'll bring it to the flea market.
I'm waiting for that person, because the ones we go to, they think they're on eBay.
Well, yeah. I mean, you get some people that, oh, it's an old comic book. It must be worth millions of dollars. And like, what they'll do is they'll list some really beaten up comic book, like I mean really beaten up, and they'll say, oh, it's like $10,000 because the 9.8 for that same book is $10,000. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
They base all the pricing to independent of grade on the most expensive book.
Well, you know, grading is subjective.
Yeah.
So
yes.
It's all about how you look at it.
In their perspective.
They're all 9.8s. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they should set up with their own grading company. And yeah. Do you want to see a bunch of raw books? I have a whole bunch of raw books. I actually have a bunch more slabs, but do you want to see a bunch of cool, just first appearance raw books?
Okay, cool. Whatever you show, we're happy with.
Okay, I'll show you. I'm just going to show you a big stack, and you guys can say, oh, okay. So I'm just going to show you a bunch. There's just a bunch of cool ones here. So I brought first Calendar Man. This is Detective Comics.
Who is Calendar Man? Because I have a comic with him on it. I got it, and I'm like, what the heck does he do? Calendar Man.
He sounds kind of lame, but he's actually kind of cool. He basically has a real sense of time. And he'll actually he'll have everything, like he'll be like, let's say he's robbing a bank, he'll be like, I have 15 seconds to do this. 20 seconds to do that, and he'll like, you're going to die in 5 seconds, like stuff like that. It's just,
But that's like the time guy. What was the time guy name?
Oh, isn't it? Oh, wait, maybe I'm getting the two mixed up.
Yeah, because they got the time. I can't think.
That's the time guy. What's the time guy called? The clock.
I can't remember his name. Was it the time maker or the timekeeper or something like that?
Oh, I thought it was Calendar Man. So I'm
no, that's not Calendar Man.
That can happen. I get the characters mixed up.
The guy who was a statistical expert, and and he had all kind of watches.
Let me correct
you. He was a big stickler for time.
He had
that's why I thought Calendar Man was. I thought that
was no, that's not Calendar Man. That's the time. I cannot think of his name though, but he's a big stickler for time.
Is it the Clockmaker or something like that, or Clock?
It might be. I gotta look it up. I'll look it up. Okay. You keep on showing.
Now I'm gonna like be annoyed by that.
Come on, Steven. You know what it is. Why don't you tell us?
Okay.
There you go. I want that one.
Oh, Batmite.
Cool Batmite. I like Batmite. So I do know this character. So I've read this one. I love Batmite. He's just sort of super powerful. Basically, probably the most powerful character in comics. He can basically change reality, so kind of cool. And then we got
Pidlick.
What?
He's like Mixia's Pidlick.
Yeah. He's basically the same character. And then we got Clayface. Actually, one second. Don't mind me.
Let's see.
Clock King.
Right.
Oh, he was Clock King.
The Clock King.
Clock King. Okay. See, I was trying to go through my clock things. I knew it was clock something. Yeah, I was getting them mixed up in my mind. Sometimes I do that. And then this is actually the first appearance of Clayface. The Golden Age Clayface.
Okay.
He goes back that far. I didn't think he went back that far.
And this is also the first appearance of the Joker on the cover. First cover appearance of the Joker.
Where's the Joker? Oh, that's him beside Batman?
That's the Joker. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
This is Detective Comics number 40. I just figured I'd show that since I showed Clay. And then we got Polka Dot Man. I like Polka Dot Man. Polka Dot, they didn't really do him as much justice as he deserves. He's actually much cooler in the comic because he can basically use his dots to make things. Like he could, like if he, it's not just blasting stuff. He can actually make weird things from his dots. So he's really cool.
He just needs a better tailor.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. And then we got, I forgot what this one is. It's just I forgot what this key about this book. I have no idea. I'm trying to remember. I don't remember. If you remember, tell me. And then we got a Man Bat.
I think I have that one.
This is a Neil Adams cover.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got, this is a good one. This is with I believe this is the bride. This is the bride of Man Bat.
He's in a hurry to get to that honeymoon.
Yeah, exactly.
We're done. Let's go.
And then this is the first appearance of what's her name? Tala Ghul? Tala Ghul?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Ra's al Ghul's daughter, Talia.
Daughter, yeah. She actually appeared before he did. So that's, and then we got trying to remember what the heck he is. This is this Death Mask, but I think it's some other character. Manhunter. So this is Detective Comics 437. Then we got 470. And this
Radioactive.
Is Radioactive. And then we got what's his name? Hugo Strange.
Okay.
Yeah. Wow.
He also appeared earlier in the Golden Age, but this.
What is that? They're pulling. Oh, that's a guy's face.
Yeah, that's him pulling off his face.
Yeah,
I think it's pulling off a mask or something like that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I see it now.
Yeah. Some weird thing. Then we got the first appearance of Deadshot. This is the more modern Deadshot. There's an earlier Deadshot.
That's a cool one.
And then we got the first cover appearance of Vicky Vale.
I have that.
Oh, David got that book.
Oh, see, that's a cool one. And then we got the first appearance of Bat Hound.
Yay!
Very useful.
I know. What does he do? Run around and get in the way?
He's just a dog. You know?
I love how they have to put a mask on the dog though, because you don't want to.
You don't want to recognize him.
Recognize the dog. So, I think I've seen him somewhere before.
No, you
haven't.
Can't
I seen that dog with Bruce
No, it's
Wayne?
not the same dog. He has a mask. This one has a mask. It's not the same dog.
Yeah. He doesn't have a utility belt though.
Yeah, and then we got the marriage of Batman and Batwoman.
They could have put on a suit, and she could have had on a dress.
Yeah.
Yeah, but with the mask still.
Yeah, they got to keep the mask.
Right?
And then we got Thor.
Or is that a crossover?
No, that's the crappy DC Thor as opposed to
it's the crappy DC Thor.
Yeah.
There's actually there's actually an even earlier Thor than this one, believe it or not. And then we got another Batmite. This is just a Batmite one.
Batmite was the most annoying character.
Yes, a very annoying character.
And in the cartoon as well, the New Adventures of Batman from what was it, 1972 or something? The Saturday morning incarnation.
They had Batmite in that as well.
Yeah. And the voice actors were Burt Ward and
Adam
West. They did their own voices in that cartoon.
Oh, wow.
Batmite, they did not like him, and they would tell him. They were like, Batman, he'd be like, Batmite, we've had about enough. Actually, if you can help, if you could just go in the next room and shut the door behind you.
Wow.
They used to say a lot of rude stuff to him and brush him off.
Yeah, because he always messed up and got them in deeper trouble. I don't think it was an episode.
That's how it always was. Yeah,
he was never useful.
No, he's not useful. He actually tries to be useful, but then he'll make it much, much worse. Actually, I'll show you a cover that I really like. This is the second appearance of the Penguin in the Silver Age. I always like this deep purple. I always thought it was nice.
Yeah.
And then we got the first Riddler.
Silver Age Riddler.
Silver Age Riddler.
Yeah.
And then I think this is the third appearance of Penguin in the Silver Age. But this is actually my one too. This is my favorite of the covers because I always associate the Penguin with these kind of poison umbrellas. And then we got
and they emphasized on that heavily in the 66 series too.
Yeah.
The umbrella?
Yeah. Burgess Meredith as the Penguin with the silly umbrellas.
Then we got See-Through Man. Or whatever his name is. It's something weird. Then we got Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah, that's a nice one.
Yeah, Neil Adams again. And then we got Silver Age Two-Face. And got the first appearance of the Reaper.
Do you have that one?
I think so.
It's not that hard of a book to get.
Yeah, I got the ones that are cheap.
This one actually I've been seeing a lot. Like the prices have been a lot more affordable recently. So I think it's an iconic cover.
Yeah.
And then I think this is the first time that they mentioned Arkham Asylum.
So that makes it a key.
Yeah, it's a key, minor key. Yeah.
It's so weird that like the Batmobile, the Bat Signal, all of those things are key just because it shows up.
Yeah.
I've got one. I forget what it is, but it's like it's a minor key because it's technically the first appearance of the Cosmic Cube.
Yeah.
Strange Tales, something or other.
Yeah, I have that one.
Yeah.
Or like the Nick Fury, where they have the origin of his eye patch.
Yeah,
and it's really? It's an eye patch.
The origin story of Nick Fury losing his eye, which by the way was not a cat.
Yes.
But,
what do you know what it was? Do you know what?
I don't remember.
Yeah,
but I'm pretty sure it wasn't an accident with a kitty cat.
Yeah, that was like the most, like the worst part of that movie. Like that movie was bad, but it was that
Marvel's poor attempt at humor, unfortunately.
Yeah, that was very painful.
Tales of Suspense 79. Thank you, Nostalgic. But
yeah,
I have a copy of that upstairs. I just
that's the first Cosmic Cube. Yes. Yeah. Okay.
With
I'd be curious about the eye patch one. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, I don't know which one, but I know they do, and that's a key.
Yeah,
it's a
and
key.
He's got a side of his head's all bandaged up.
Mm-hmm. And it's like the first, the origin story of the eye patch.
It's not the first appearance of like Nick Fury as an agent, is it?
No, and it says on the cover the origin story of his eye patch.
Because even as
it's on the cover.
Wow.
Yeah, no, that's all right.
But it's just
really
weird.
See, now he's curious.
Yeah, I gotta. Yeah, David will look it up, but it's just weird how they make certain things a key, and it's so like.
But it is kind of iconic. Whenever you think of Nick Fury, you always think of him with the eye patch, right?
Yeah, I guess you're right, because you would want to know how did he lose his eye, Yeah, I guess you're right. So, but yeah, what else you got for us?
Okay, I got a bunch more slabs. So
you got some. You showed detail. You got Brave and the Bold.
I didn't bring my Brave and the Bold. So most of the Brave and the Bolds that I have are not Batman related. So I have like the first like Katana, or the first Suicide Squad.
Oh, here it is. I got it for you, Alan. It's Sergeant Fury and his Howling Commandos number 27, and he got shredded from shrapnel from a grenade.
See, now that makes sense.
And it tore.
That's a little bit more heroic.
Getting scratched in the eye by a cat is pretty lame.
Yeah, so we went from grenade to Pussycat. So
yeah, they really made him seem like a lame character by doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when you look at the
and that doesn't explain all the other scarring all around it that looked burned.
Yeah,
because he had damage to the side of his face.
But when you see the Samuel Jackson Nick Fury, he doesn't come off as this like war hero. You know what I mean? He doesn't come off like that.
But I don't think he should in a way, because he's like, there's two Nick Furies in a way. There's the war hero one where it's like
that secret agent Nick Fury,
and then there's the secret agent Nick Fury, which is the later version. I kind of think he does a good job of that.
Got a question. Do you own any comics from Japanese properties?
Does this count?
No.
Does this count?
No, let's see. Oh, Voltron.
Oh, hold on. I got to make you big.
That's a neat one. That's a good one to have.
Voltron. I don't know. It's just I just happen to have this handy. But I also have like Akira. I have like Sailor Moon. You know, stuff like that. Like, so I do have some Japanese ones.
Okay.
And somebody was asking if you got any Golden Age Superman.
I can show that if you want.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah. You can break it up. We know, we don't limit anybody.
Blue Splash would be curious.
Yeah.
Okay. So
I'm sure he does.
It just happened that one of the boxes that I had Superman in it. So I'll show you some. Okay. And okay, this box is totally not organized, so it's random stuff mixed together.
Oh, that's fine.
So it's some Golden Age stuff, and then it's some random stuff. I don't know what this all is.
Out of sight, wanted to see the Akira. I've got a set of Akira. I've got most of it. I think I'm missing like the last 2 or 3 issues from that.
You know, the funny thing is, I just have
an anime.
Yes.
Okay,
manga. It's a movie. It's a movie, actually. But they're not manga books. They're actual comic books from Marvel Epic. It's a lot more detailed than the film was, but the film's still really good.
Oh, sorry. I'm just like... the box is like very, very messed up. So just bear with me. Okay.
You
so
get it alphabetized.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
it is a big stickler for alphabetizing.
Yeah, I didn't really organize it that well.
Everything.
Yeah, I put mine in numeric order, but.
Okay, one second. I'm going to move this around. There.
All right.
Now I can show you some Superman. Okay,
all right, let me make it big.
So you actually mentioned this character. This is that Mixel Plixel dude.
Mixius Pidlick, I think, was the original.
Mixia Plicklet. Okay.
Some people say Mixelplick, but I
Mixelplix. Yeah, that's the way I heard it. Mixelplix. So this is his first appearance. And for some reason, in the same box is Doctor Strange. I don't know why.
Nothing wrong with that.
And for some reason, also Man-Thing was in there. I'm not sure.
Hey, Man-Thing.
Man-Thing.
But then I have like All-American Comics.
Oh.
And this is the first appearance of the Sportsmaster.
Who's the Sportsmaster?
You saw him in that one DC.
He was in Stargirl.
No.
He basically is good with sporting equipment. Then we got Adventure Comics. This is the second appearance of Crypto. The
dog.
Yep. And then we got some more. This is Silver Age Adventure Comics. Action Comics, I should say. This is the first appearance of what's her name? The first appearance of Brainiac 5, Sunboy, Phantom Girl, Triplet Girl. That's what I was thinking. It's like whenever they use the red kryptonite, you get all these weird effects. Well,
yeah.
So that's that one. And then another one that's red kryptonite orientated is this one. This is the first appearance of like all these characters. I forgot what their names are. Why don't they say? Like I don't know, Lightning Lad or one of those ones. I don't know. And then this one is kind of a famous one.
Oh yeah, I've seen that one before.
First appearance of Brainiac. This is still not Golden Age. I don't know where all my Golden Age Superman is, but then we got Adventure Comics 210, which is first Crypto.
I thought the other one you showed was first Crypto, where it was busting through the wall.
Second appearance.
Oh, that was the second. Okay,
second appearance, yeah.
All right.
And then we got Action Comics 42.
Oh.
And this is the first appearance of what's his name? Vigilante. Yeah, Vigilante. Vigilante. If you watch the cartoons, that recent cartoons, where it's the guy with the gun, he's like he looks like a cowboy with a gun. This is his first appearance. And in the same box, I don't know why, but we got the first appearance of the Gambler.
Oh, Green Lantern.
And then also have. Do you want to see
Kenny
a Golden
Rogers?
Yeah. Kenny. Like whenever I think of it, I think of Kenny Rogers too. One second. And then
Green Lantern isn't as popular as the other superheroes.
Flash. This is the first appearance of the Thinker.
Is that Flash like the?
Yeah, the Golden Age Flash. This is the Golden Age Flash.
Golden Age Flash with the Mercury helmet.
Oh.
This is the one from 1943.
Okay.
This happens. I got this just before they announced the Thinker was going to be in Suicide Squad 2. So this book went up a lot after that.
Oh, wow. Look at you.
Yeah, then we got, this is another Superman one. This is the first appearance of, what's it called? The evil one. First appearance of Superboy Prime. So yeah, sort of the different realities, right? I don't know. That was what was in the same box. That like it just happened that box is like a mix of Batman and those ones. But how about I show you one more Batman one? That's kind of cool. Just one more Batman one that's kind of cool. I really love this book.
Oh yeah.
It's just such a silly scenario.
We got on all those different outfits.
He has to wear a different color every night.
Yeah. So that nobody will notice Robin has a broken arm. That's the whole thing. So
why doesn't he just stay his behind home?
Yeah, because then people would be like, "Where's Robin? What happened to Robin? Some boy broke his arm. Is he Robin?"
They could dress up Alfred like Robin.
Yeah.
If you remember in the '66 Batman, they did that with Alfred so that Batman and Bruce Wayne could be seen at the same time. But of course, he's all like tall and really super skinny and with like facial hair and stuff. And it's like, yeah, I'm Batman. Nobody thinks.
But Alfred's always had a British accent.
Yeah, he didn't sound like Batman either. But you know, the people in Gotham City are not that bright.
No, they're not.
So
no,
they never can put two and two together.
I think people that are not the main characters are usually not that bright. I mean, if Superman can get away with glasses, I think they're not that bright in general in comics.
I used to think about that too with the pity party that the commissioner and the chief of police used to have all the time before they open up the cake dish and pick up the red phone to call Batman on the show. They'd be like, "Oh, we're basically useless. What are we gonna do, Commissioner? I don't know. Or maybe we should call Batman." And it's like, yeah. Well, you may as well just save the public money. Shut down the police department because they're worthless.
I was wondering about that too. Like, they seem like they had no purpose. Like the police, like, oh, Batman's here. He'll do it. He'll figure it out. So yeah,
the show's hilarious though. It was fun.
Yeah,
I actually enjoyed
fun to watch. Yeah.
The weird thing about it was I would get it in, like, there was some other show that we had in Canada where the end of the show they would put like clips of the Batman series on it, and they would show like the first half of the show on, and then they would show the second half on the next week's episode. Yeah. But for some reason, I would never catch two episodes together, so I'd never see a complete show.
Oh,
it drove me nuts. It was only recently that I started seeing the whole show together, because on YouTube you can find all those things. So.
Well, it took forever for them to get that series on disc. Everybody wanted a piece of the pie because there's a million celebrity guest appearances in that show, and that's where the whole window trick comes from. So many people wanted to be involved with the show, they couldn't fit them in, so they came up with the idea of Batman and Robin will be climbing the rope, and then here's here's Frank Sinatra, or somebody would just pop out of the window and say hi. Yeah. Here's Jerry Lewis, whoever.
So is it just that all these people were kind of fans of the show and they just wanted to be in it? Or?
Yeah, people wanted to be in on the project because look at the star power that was actually in that show. Caesar Romero and Burgess Meredith and
Eartha Kitt.
Roddy McDowell.
Roddy McDowell? Who was he?
He was Bookworm in the original.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just the people that were the star power that was in it, and everybody was like, "Hey, can I get in on this?" And they couldn't fit them.
I remember watching
that show was huge during the 60s. I mean,
yeah.
I kind of like to see that kind of level of show nowadays, where there's a lot of excitement around it, but we don't have that. There's no. The closest that we had was Mandalorian, but
yeah, they're it's getting weird.
Yeah,
but do you want to hear something I heard about The Mandalorian season 3?
What?
So the reason season 3 is terrible, right? Like everyone pretty much hates season 3 of Mandalorian, is that Kathleen Kennedy basically got to control it. So, what's his name?
Yeah, because the guy who was in charge
Filoni,
was a real
so it's
fan.
Filoni and what's his name? The guy that plays Happy in the movies, in the Marvel movies. Who plays Happy?
I don't know who Happy is.
Happy, like
not
Spider-Man.
in the Marvel movies, but you mean
Sons of Anarchy?
From Daredevil.
No, Happy. Happy is in Spider-Man.
I don't know.
Too. He's in Iron Man as well.
Is he?
That's the guy that brings the guns, right?
No, he's like, he's a very famous Favreau, Jon Favreau.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, you got me.
Yeah.
Really? He's the guy that created The Mandalorian.
Oh, okay.
But he also did like Iron Man and a whole bunch of things. He's a very major. He's the one that made the original series for The Mandalorian, and he's really great. But him and Kathleen Kennedy don't like each other.
Oh.
So she brought in her director, and basically, Favreau, because Mandalorian was somewhat successful, he was able to kind of have this other guy under his control for a little bit. But then, Happy Hogan. See, Happy Hogan. Yeah, Happy. Okay. He's a guy from Iron Man, but he's also in Spider-Man.
Is he the bodyguard from Iron Man? He's supposed to be Tony's bodyguard.
He's not really a bodyguard. I'm not sure what he is. He's just sort of, I don't know what he is. Maybe he's a bodyguard. I'm not sure what he is. But the point is, with The Mandalorian, Jon Favreau basically stepped away from it for season 3. He doesn't really get involved. He basically let Kathleen Kennedy and the other guy kind of take over. And that's why it went back to being just like the sequel movies, right?
Oh.
Well, we haven't seen The Mandalorian.
Yeah. Yeah.
The first season is worth watching. The first season.
We heard the first season was good, but
second season was so-so, and then third season was, it's not even watchable. It's just, like Lizzie is in it.
Yeah, Lizzo and Jack Black.
Yeah, I saw that one scene. I was like, oh my goodness, this is embarrassing.
Yeah, we saw that scene.
Because everybody's been screaming about it.
Yeah, and they've been showing it, so we saw it like that, and it's like, they're doing things. I understand what they're doing, but they're trying to draw in certain people.
Yeah,
but those people don't want to watch.
Yeah, they're trying to, and something I've brought up many times. It's they're pandering to a group of people that do not support their content anyways.
Yeah.
So it's what's the point? You pander to the people that actually watch that content. Your toxic Star Wars fans are the people that you need to be listening to.
What I find is part of the reason I thought the first, series of Star Wars movies were really good is there was no star power. Like nobody was famous in the first 3 movies of Star Wars. They weren't really
Peter Cushing. But
what?
The people who were famous had small parts.
Yeah. And it wasn't like that they were the reason people were coming to the movie.
Yeah.
So in a way, when you have it that way, you don't know what's going to happen to those characters because, you know, they could die, you know, because they're not famous. You know, in a movie nowadays, if they're famous, they're probably not going to die, or they'll have like some kind of, you know, some of more pivotal role or whatever. So
yeah, they did the same thing with the original Superman when Christopher Reeve was brought in, and they were like, we're not looking for somebody who's huge.
Yeah.
In the industry.
Yeah. But also what I find is like when they do these kind of guest appearances, I mean, it can work if it's in a show where it's like a nowadays show, like where it's so, you know, it makes sense that person could be in the same reality as the characters in the show. But a show like Mandalorian, which is supposed to be in some other time, other galaxy, it feels like, wow, why is Lizzo here? You know, it's like it takes you out of the whole feeling of being in that show, that other reality of the show, right?
Yeah, and also the fact that they had Christopher Lloyd in it as well, and I saw that clip.
Yeah, he was in the same scene.
His performance was really bad, and I'm like, that's a shame because it's like the guy's a legacy actor. And I would hate for that to be the last thing he's remembered for. I don't think he can do it anymore, you know?
Yeah, I was kind of surprised by how bad his scene was. They were all pretty bad, but
yeah. I mean, I saw the clip. We didn't see the show, but I've seen the clip. And
that was the clip that I watched. That one thing with them, the three of them interacting, and there was some other person there as well. But it was just what I've heard about The Mandalorian season 3 is they've really done the bait and switch again. Where the Mandalorian was in the first season was the guy and Baby Yoda. Okay, that was the two main characters, and so you feel like the title of the show is really about him.
Sure.
But what they did in season 3 is they defined the Mandalorian as being all Mandalorians, like all the people that wear that helmet and that kind of thing. So anyone can be the Mandalorian.
Oh, wow.
That way, the woman in it is the new Mandalorian, and she's the focal point of the story because the Force is female.
Way to go, Disney! Thanks for that.
Yeah. So,
oh wow!
So they did, the typical gender swap thing.
Yeah.
But what do they get out of that? Because I mean, like I said before, we've said it in other videos. They want to have these strong female characters or female lead, but then they make the females so unlikable, you wouldn't want to know them in real life. You wouldn't want to hang out with any of these people. You wouldn't want to know them. You wouldn't want to work with them if you knew them in real life. You know, the way that character's acting, you wouldn't want to be anywhere near them.
So what I think is happening is you get the writers are female, right? For a lot of those ones, and they are probably not likable people, and the characters that we're seeing are their self-inserts. Like if you look at the Scooby-Doo show, like Velma, really she, the Velma character in the new Velma series is, the writers in self-insertion, right?
Yeah.
It's like. And she's, you think, oh, why would somebody make such an unlikable character? But probably the person that is that, that inserted themselves is that unlikable. They're actually, it's them telling their own story. It's like,
that shows a real lack of writing talent.
Well, not only that is, do they realize that they're unlikable? I mean, I understand what you're saying, but
it's everyone else.
Yeah, because that brings me to the question of, do you think the way, if that's yourself, do you really think people like that? And that's probably attractive, and that's like, will draw people into you. You know what I mean? It just seems so ridiculous that you would even show yourself that way.
I think there's a balance between being totally, completely narcissistic, where you think you're the center of the whole entire world. And at the same point, those same people even though they have this massive ego, they also have the reverse of that, where they also have this massive complex where they almost put themselves down. Do you know what I mean? Like they almost think of themselves as like the worst person in the world too. They almost have self-realization as well. So I think they're a combination of massive ego and massive chip on the shoulder. So I don't know.
You can have a character that has a big ego if that person can be exposed to have a flaw and accept it, like Doctor Strange. In that film, he had a huge ego. He was humbled hard.
Tony Stark.
Yeah. He was humbled hard. He had a big ego.
Yeah.
And he went through a very humbling experience. And when he came out of it, it changed his perspective. You can build a good story on that.
Yeah, Tony Stark is a butthole too, but at least he can back up what he's saying and what he's doing.
And he earned it. You watched him earn it. They didn't just tell you that he deserves it.
Well, in a way, the interesting thing is, and I think this is like something that the Japanese shows do really, really well, is if you watch like any Japanese animation, there's always like really obnoxious characters, like just like completely obnoxious characters, but they either have a comeuppance or something happens where they're humbled, and then you realize that, they're a total obnoxious person, but sometimes they're actually a good, sweet person as well. And you kind of forgive them for being obnoxious. And you see that as almost a lovable point to them because they can, like, they'll have a scene where the character's like, a womanizer or something like that. But then in the next scene, that same character that's a womanizer or just like bit of a sleazeball is also the one that's got your back in a bad situation. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're the ones that, risk their lives to save their friends. And,
Master Roshi from Dragon Ball Z pops into my head when you say that.
So there's lots of characters like that.
Japanese shows.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, where they have this big flaw, but which kind of makes them, in a weird way, relatable, because we don't like perfection in characters. We kind of like characters that are a bit flawed.
Yeah.
But then what they'll do is they have a redeeming feature as well that kind of balances out that big flaw. I find characters nowadays, especially female characters or minority characters, don't have flaws. They're perfect in every way, and it's the rest of the world that has to realize how perfect they are. And it's just, so
they have flaws, but they blame everybody else for their shortcomings.
It's someone else's fault.
I wouldn't even say that. I would actually say that they are, in their own minds and in their own reality, perfect. It's the flaws that we see in them are the flaws that are in us, not in them.
It's somebody else's problem.
Which is what this Marvels is going to burn, because the big their big weakness is each other, because they keep switching bodies. But you do realize what Disney did there. They took their plot from Freaky Friday and worked it into the Marvel film. Because they've done Freaky Friday, I think, twice. One in the 60s and one in the
Parent Trap and then
early
Freaky
2000s.
Friday.
Parent Trap.
So they rolled that plot into it.
Yeah.
Way to go, Disney. Still rewriting stuff.
Well, creativity and Hollywood are not things that go together. I mean,
yes.
Yeah. If you look at the first Captain Marvel movie, it really kind of explains the whole situation really well. The whole time she was actually perfect. And it was only until she realized how perfect she was and that she could break free from this locking that they basically had her locked down, where she wasn't allowed to reach her full potential. And I think that's, if you look at that movie, it pretty much is the archetype for all the characters moving forward.
You see that in Wakanda Forever too.
Yeah. But the problem with that is it becomes like, you see the character, it's a woman. We know exactly what her story is going to be. We know exactly where the movie's going to go with that character.
Yeah, and you've been holding her back, Alan.
I was trying. And it just, I always go to the meetings where we all wear the costumes, and we have to hold these people back, and it just doesn't work. I don't know why.
Or also, if you have a character who's written in as an obnoxious character deliberately, if they get their comeuppance, like, for example, I Love Lucy. Lucille Ball is obnoxious.
Oh yeah, she's unlikable.
But she falls flat on her face by the end of every episode.
Yeah, she's like
an
obnoxious idiot, but a lovable idiot at the same time.
Yeah, because she don't mean any harm, but it blows up in her face, and then she has to admit it.
Yeah.
Or what's the other
Bucket.
one? Mrs. Bucket from Miss Bouquet from Keeping Up Appearances.
Yeah, Keeping Up Appearances.
For the British the British show, where she's a real pain in the butt, but it blows up in her face by the end of the show.
Yeah, but the problem is now it never blows up in their face. By the end of the movie,
they're never wrong.
No, they're the only ones that survive. Like, it always brings me back to the movie
Bird Box.
No, not well. Yeah, Bird Box is one.
I actually like Bird Box.
Bird Box was awful.
She got everybody killed, then wouldn't even name her own kids.
She wouldn't name her own kids. She was the only one that survived. She's pregnant, looking for help, goes into this house, demands that they get rid of their guns,
everybody
demands that they bring people in. She's pregnant. She's going out on missions. You're 8 months pregnant. Everybody dies but
is
her.
That Bird Box? I think you're thinking that's not Bird Box. That
is Bird Box with Sandra Bullock.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's Bird Box.
I think the other one you might be thinking of is Cloverfield Lane.
Cloverfield Lane.
No, what's the one? They made 2 things about it.
Oh, that's the one, The Silence or something.
The Silence or something. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
But Cloverfield Lane too. He rescues her. She gets everybody killed, and she's the only survivor.
Yeah.
They do that. That's like the new Hollywood model.
Yeah.
One thing that always drives me nuts is nowadays characters will do that where they expect the whole world to save them.
Yeah.
And they get everybody killed, and they have no concern about anyone else's lives. Like, it's really weird. like they're really obnoxious that way. Yeah. I didn't think about that with Bird Box, but maybe that's true.
Yeah, she got everybody killed.
Annoying.
It was her and the kids are the only 3 people that survived.
And then her kids are like 6 and 7 years old, and she's still calling them girl and boy.
Yeah, boy and girl.
Yeah.
It's like, even the worst mother would name their kids. So I hated that movie.
I can't be too harsh on her. Like I had a cat, and I kept on naming it Kitten, and I never gave it a proper name. So,
I do that now. I call the cats by the color.
You didn't give birth to it, though.
Yeah.
Well, you never know.
I think you'd have a stronger bond. I'd hope.
Yeah, I would have had a stronger bond. Yeah, but. So I don't know. That's so weird. Actually, maybe I get sort of into the concepts of movies too much, and I can actually like a movie even though it's a bad movie if it has a cool concept. So the thing I liked about Bird Box is that if you see that whatever it is, you go insane, right?
Yeah.
I like that. I thought that was a kind of a cool idea. I mean, I guess that was sort of the theme that year of Hollywood, where you could either they would have things where you couldn't hear anything or couldn't see something.
Yeah.
That was the kind of theme, or couldn't speak. They were really about the 5 senses being the end of the world kind of thing.
They had 2 movies. The Quiet Place, that's the one you were talking about.
The Quiet Place, that's the one.
And then another one was Silence. It was Silence. Silence and Quiet Place was the exact same
movie. It was the same movie,
Yeah, they had, both of them had deaf girls in there. Yeah. And you couldn't speak and all of that mess.
Did you ever think about that? Like, actually, deaf people would be the worst. Because deaf people don't know when they're making noise.
Yeah.
So if you ever experience deaf people, like I used to have a bunch of deaf friends, and they were so obnoxiously noisy because they didn't know that they were being noisy because they didn't have any sense of how noisy they are. Like we as people that can hear, we actually can tone down our voice or tone down our like noises that we make. But if you, if you, if you don't know that you're noisy, you actually make more noise. It's kind of weird.
Someone wanted to know if you had Red Sonja.
Red Sonja.
Not handy.
Not handy.
I bet I know you do though. I'm sure.
Yeah, sexy girl.
Okay, so I have one box of Red Sonja right there, and then I have like a bunch of slabs of Red Sonja right there.
Oh, so they are handy.
They're semi-handy.
Semi-handy.
So the Red Sonja, it's like it's all raw books.
Okay.
It's like it'd be like her first series and stuff like that.
No, Alan doesn't collect statues or action figures.
Not really, no. I do have like some Star Wars action figures, but they're back home in Nova Scotia.
And he has one Vampirella statue.
Yeah. But
oh, you brought that with you? But
no,
not
it's right there. It's right there. It's like I always have it on display. I like it. I like my Vampirella.
I like A Quiet Place. Haven't seen the other one. Yeah, Quiet Place. The
first one was good.
Yeah, the first one was okay, but I saw The Silence first. So then when I saw The Quiet Place, I'm like, this is the exact same movie.
Well, you know they do that sometimes.
Yeah, but I mean, it came out like at the exact same time. So
there was one scene that really, really bothered me about A Quiet Place, where the father basically sacrificed himself for no apparent reason.
Yeah, he didn't need to do that. It was unnecessary. Yeah. He had time to get into the house, and then
it was into the car. They were in it. There was like a car there, and there was like they could. All they had to do was be quiet. They know that, right?
Yeah, that's all they had to do.
Well, that's the one big plot hole in that film, though. If it jumps on anything that makes noise, it'd be pretty easy to set traps for them.
Oh, easily. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. The whole time I was thinking, why don't you just throw a rock over there or something like that?
Yeah, how did they wipe out the population when they just like stumble into anything that makes a sound?
Yeah,
I didn't get
you'd need something else. Like, they would have to have some vision or something that would allow them to detect you more than just the noise.
And you can be just as quiet in shoes. You don't have to walk around barefoot everywhere.
Yeah. They had to walk around
Depends on what kind of shoes you're wearing.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, actually, you'd be noisier with bare feet because your feet would get mangled, right? You're in pain the whole time walking around on stones and stuff. The thing, it doesn't make much sense is like if a very, very small noise can attract them, like just the natural environment is pretty noisy, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you don't hear people from like houses nearby. It's just that there's so many other noises around you that are louder.
Well, they were going for the post-apocalyptic, so you had no other sounds. But you still have animal sounds.
Yeah, there's still
the sound, but animal sounds, wind sounds,
sound
trees.
There's always ambient background noise.
Yeah. But I mean, you don't have like airplane and the hum of the electrical lines and that kind of stuff. So I guess you were supposed to imagine that the whole earth was quiet because all of that stuff was gone.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. but it can be cool. I was just thinking. So I don't know. What they say about Armageddon?
Oh no, they were saying Armageddon and Deep Impact were the same.
They do it every year, actually. It's not just Armageddon and Deep Impact. They do it with so many movies. Every year it's like, what is the theme of this year? And they'll just all do the same movie.
Yeah. And you'll have that going for a while. And then they come up with a whole new plot. Like for a while it was zombies. It was zombies for a while. Everything, TV shows, movies, everything was zombies. And then you had the superhero era. So we kind of phasing into the next era. I don't know what the next era is going to be. But, you know, you had crime for a while where you had your psychodramas where you had the serial killers. That was something for a while.
I actually know what the next era is going to be.
Oh, what is it?
It's going to be video games.
Oh, yeah, because of the Super Mario Brothers?
So Hollywood is very...
Yeah.
So Hollywood is very unoriginal. So what it'll do is if there's something that's successful, they'll be like, okay, we'll just do more of that.
Yeah.
And they do it, not only do they do more of it, but they also, like, they don't have any new ideas. So they just do it really, really bad. And then they just give you so much of it until you get sick of it.
Yeah.
And then they move on to the next thing. And then somebody will make some random movie that does well, that's not related to that big thing. And then they'll be like, oh, that's the next thing that we got to do. So,
yeah.
The other thing that could be big is because of John Wick. I think that they might go that way as well.
With the action films?
Action films.
Individualistic action films like we had in the 80s, which is a recycling of the 80s concept anyways, when you had like... you had Rambo, you had Commando, you had movies like that where you had just a hardcore character.
Yeah, like RoboCop and
Bruce, what's his name? Chuck
Van
Norris.
Damme.
Chuck Norris, Van Damme.
Series during that time, with just the real tough guy kind of thing.
Yeah, but then that's toxic masculinity, and I don't think we got past that phase yet.
Well, it's working with John Wick
and the Maverick.
Yeah. Well, actually, John Wick, if you look at John Wick, is it really toxic masculinity? Because they also had female characters that were also pretty awesome in that too. So they kind of had the bit of the balance.
Stars, though.
What?
They weren't
really
the stars.
Really just one, right? It was when they brought in
the girl.
Oh, what's her name?
Well, Halle Berry?
Yeah.
But
she was the only one, right? And she was in the third film.
Yeah, Halle Berry.
Who was wasn't there some Asian girl in the third one? A fourth one.
We haven't seen the fourth one yet.
I haven't seen it either, but like I heard.
I don't think it was. I've seen the clips for it. I don't think it was it might have been, but
there's some Asian girl in it that's supposed to be really good at martial arts and stuff like that.
But she still wasn't like the lead. You know, she was like a side character. So that
I know. They don't like male leads, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he fit all the toxic masculinity bullets, and so is Maverick, toxic masculinity. So,
yeah.
You know,
it could be. You know, you can slap that label on anything.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Anything that they don't agree with is toxic. That's the easy way to figure it out.
Yeah.
I was actually just watching a bunch of cool conspiracy movie documentaries.
Oh yeah, we watched those.
If you ever want to, like, this is just an aside for anyone that's watching. Look up ESG and just like that's a really awesome thing to go down a rabbit hole on.
We looked that word up just this weekend because we were reading an article, and it and that letter that acronym was in the article. So I'm like, what does that even mean? Because the article didn't explain, and I'm like, oh wow, okay, because it's what, like eco socialism,
environmental social governance.
Yeah, governance. Yeah, that was in an article we just read, and yeah, okay.
But once you learn about that, it sort of explains everything that's happening.
Yeah, it actually does. Because that's how the article read.
Yeah, basically the way it works is that the companies that back ESG scores, they represent $50 trillion worth of assets.
That's a lot.
And so basically they control, and if you don't follow their score, basically they will put you out of business.
Yeah.
So that's why companies that have to follow these kind of policies just to, you wonder why would you make it this thing? But that's why they do it, because they won't get the investment if they don't.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
So until they change,
I don't know. I don't know if they will though. That's the thing.
Yeah, because they'd have to hemorrhage a lot of money before they backed off, and you could just redirect.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
maybe you could borrow from Peter to pay Paul to keep the business going, even though something's failing.
That's what I'm kind of hopeful by. Things like YouTube, like even what we're doing right now is we're creating content, right? We just created the same amount of content, like about 2 hours worth of content that one of these big movies is, right? If you think about it, and we did that on our own cheaply, and we entertained people. So I think that is what's going to happen in the future, is that there's going to be a lot more independent creators that produce content that people want to watch.
Well, you see it already because you have those like movie shorts where people are got their own camera and even on their cell phone, and they're making these little like movie shorts. Sometimes it's an hour long, and some of it's not bad. Some of it is horrible. Some of it is not bad, and they're just posting it to YouTube for you to watch. And I've seen a couple of them, and they're decent. Some of them are decent.
Yeah, I mean, the point is it's becoming easier and easier to make great content. Like digitally we can do it. Our cell phones can basically be good enough recording instruments to use. The video editing software is pretty good on phone, that we can get pretty cheaply.
Yeah.
You can make some pretty great things. There's actually a talk where, Chat GPT, right?
Yeah.
Well, they're actually having something now where you can basically create video that way, where you can say, make me a video of Batman fighting the Joker, and then it'll render that kind of video.
But to me, that's kind of cheating.
Well, no, but but if you think about it, you could write up a story or make up a story and then have it generate that story. And then you make your little movie and show it to somebody. Say, hey, look, I made this cool movie. It is cheating in terms of, but it means that movies are much easier to make for even us people with no millions of dollars to spend on a movie. And I think that's what's going to be the future. I think there's going to be more of that where independent creators can make things.
I can't understand why it costs hundreds of millions of dollars to make an animated movie, or
because they're paying themselves.
Yeah, or a movie that's so heavy with CGI. Like before there was CGI, you had to either build an entire set or go to these various locations, and it didn't cost as much as it does now. And the whole thing is CGI. You're just in a warehouse with green screen all over the place. And it costs hundreds of millions of dollars.
Well, there's just so many people involved. If you watch the credits at the end of a movie, it actually, you think, oh, wow, yeah, I can understand why it's this much, how much it costs. Because, you think about it, it's like a typical movie takes about 8 months to make.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's usually a couple of years before that they write it and they go through, there's a sort of production stage before it and the financing stage before it. Then there's the actual making of the movie. Then there's the marketing of the movie. And, there's like all those kind of stages. But you look at just the making of the movie part. And if you look at the credits, it's just like there's thousands of people that were involved with the making of that movie.
Yeah.
And that devoted a year of their time to making that movie. Well, that's a lot of money just off salaries alone.
Yeah.
So that's, I don't know why it takes that many people to make a movie, but
I know. And the computers, and then they're not even that good. The CGI is not really that good. It used to be really good. And now it's getting like worse and worse.
Yeah, I don't know why that is. I think they're just getting lazier, or they're rushing it.
We're getting more attuned to it. We're able to pick up on it better now.
What I actually like is when I forgot. Do you know the movie Elf?
Elf with that
Will Ferrell?
Yeah,
Will Ferrell. Mm-hmm. So what they did in that, and they also did the same in Lord of the Rings, is they did what's called practical effects, where to make him look big and everyone else small, they would film a certain angle and build the room a certain way to kind of create the illusion that he's big and everyone else is small. Or they did the same thing with Lord of the Rings. You can kind of create this fake perspective, and you don't have to CGI people to make them smaller, or so you can do it all with what are called practical effects. When you film that way, it looks more realistic than CGI because everything is real. It's not like digital, and also the actors themselves are like more realistic too, because a lot of the time when you're acting in a green screen, there's nothing to play off of. It's kind of like it's hard to get into that role because you're talking to a CGI monster. You're talking to something that doesn't exist. So I think that's like another thing that they've sort of given up on in Hollywood that they should really go back to in a way. The practical effects, which are considered passé, but I think they're actually got their place. So
I'm with
too much on CGI.
I'm with last year Assassin's Creed movie. I've never played Assassin's Creed, but I like the look of that character. I've seen the statues and the action figures of it, and just the overall look of the character. I like that, and I haven't collected it because I've never played it, so I don't know anything about the character. But if there was a movie,
there's a lot of games under that title.
Yeah, I would like to see a movie with Assassin's Creed if they did something like a good backstory to explain it. We were watching one what's the one with Master Chief in it? Halo. And oh man, I couldn't get into that. It was
that a movie or video game that you played?
It's a video game, but they made an animated movie of it. So I wanted to see it because like I said, I know the characters just from collecting action figures and statues. But I've never played the game, so I wanted to watch it just to see what it was about. But the way they did it, I just couldn't figure out what was going on. So I probably
just too confusing. Is it one of those things where you have to play the game in order to know the movie, or
no, not really, because I've seen other video game based movies and never played the game, but could totally get into the movie because of the way it was written, the way that they told it, and the animation was good. This one didn't have good animation, and they narrated like literally about the first 20 minutes was narrated. Oh, wow. So they had like
they're trying to get through all that backstory, maybe.
Yeah, and it was kind of hard to follow because in your mind when you hear narration, you're like, okay, I'm gonna listen to this for a minute, so you're not really paying attention. But then it kept going on. I'm like, whoa, this is still going on. I need to be probably paying attention. So I did start paying attention, but then when it got to the actual movie part, the animation was really bad. It kept changing. The animation kept changing.
The style.
Yeah, the animation style kept changing. It was like Japanese 1 minute, then it looked like it was from the 70s the next minute, and then sometime they merged the two. And it was hard to.
Was there a reason for that, or
I have no idea. So all of terrible. That, once you're looking at that, and then your mind's trying to process that, you can't pay attention.
There's a movie that I saw that I liked way back when. It's a very early animation movie in terms of like when they got to really high level animation. Was Final Fantasy. I never played Final Fantasy, the video game, but the movie was really good. The CGI was it was like, at the time, it was like, way above anything else that had ever come out before. But that was a good movie. So sometimes it can work.
Yeah, because we saw the Street Fighter animated movie. That was good. Animation, the writing, everything about that was good. So it is.
Kombat.
Oh, it was Mortal Kombat. Sorry, Mortal
Kombat.
Kombat. That was really good. And then it was a couple of others. But then, like I said, I was gonna watch Halo. Couldn't do it. It was just real bad. And Gilgamesh is talking about the animation style. I like the animation style they used on Invincible. If you saw Invincible on
I like the TV series. Yeah, I like that.
I like that animation style.
Yeah,
the animation style was real good, and they use it on some of the Batman movies, the DC animated movies. They use it on that. Some of them.
Yeah. Do you guys watch anime, or are you guys into the anime at all? Or
we watch some. We watched the one. Yeah, some of them we'll watch. I can't remember the names of them. We'll just pull it up, and we've watched a couple of series. So yeah,
they just mentioned Castlevania. That's a really good series.
I know we haven't watched that. I know
that's a really good series.
Oh, is it?
Yep. It's like 3 seasons, or I think
I
it's
used
3
to play
seasons.
that on the Nintendo NES.
Oh yeah. Thundercats movie. They haven't made a Thundercats movie.
No, they've been specking on that for 20 years.
Yeah, every year they say they're gonna make one, but they never do.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves. I didn't mind that movie. The only thing that I didn't like about that movie, that first Dungeons and Dragons movie, was what's his name? Who's the guy he's actually considered to be a great actor, but he was terrible in it.
I don't know who was in the movie. So
you've never watched it?
Not the Dungeons and Dragons. We saw the animated cartoon. You know, the daily.
Yeah, that's really good. I like that.
I don't know about really good.
I don't know. Maybe it was of the time. I don't know. I liked it.
It was okay. I didn't like the way that they didn't tell you. Okay, at the beginning, they didn't say why they kidnapped these kids, and then when they got to the end, they told you why the kids were there, and it made the whole thing just lame. So, because they kidnapped the kids so that the dungeon master can get his son back. And it's why didn't you say that at the beginning? I mean, I know if you said it at the beginning, you wouldn't have had a series, but you made them go through all that.
But if you think about did you ever play Dungeons and Dragons?
No, I've never. I only.
So if you think about every Dungeons and Dragons game, that's how it is. The dungeon master always kind of like, doesn't tell you what you need to know, and then you play the game, and then you discover what you need to know when it's no longer needed. It's like, and that's typical Dungeons and Dragons game. It's like sort of by the point you needed that information, it's no longer useful.
I agree with you, Nomsky. I agree with you 100%. That'll never look good in live.
Yeah, Thundercats would be a really hard one to do as live action.
The whole thing would have to be CGI. It would have to be like
No, you do it hardcore 80s style with padded suits and like that book I have.
Oh yeah, he has a book.
Oh yeah, their Ice Capades one.
Yeah, Thundercats on Ice. But they could do it if they found like bodybuilders, and then made them up. Because they're not like abnormally big, like Hulk.
My concern is like Cats. Do you know the movie Cats? The based on the play Cats.
Yeah,
I have a feeling it'd be like that, and it would be just so bad.
Yeah.
But
they need to keep it as an animated movie. If they make a movie, it should be animated because it would look kind of weird as a live action.
From your childhood, what show what series would you like to see made into a live action movie?
I don't know.
Jeremy Irons is the guy I was talking about. Thank you. Thank you. Jeremy Irons is the guy I was trying to remember.
Okay.
He was terrible. He was just really bad. Okay, but yeah. So sorry.
You mean that was a cartoon?
Cartoon, whatever, like from your childhood,
Yes,
something nostalgic.
It would be hard to translate.
Yeah,
that's the problem. A lot of them don't translate well.
Yeah, a lot of them don't. I mean, I know they did Masters of the Universe, and that looks okay.
It was okay.
G.I. Joe was fine because G.I. Joe was based on human characters, so that was fine.
One of my favorite movies that they made from like a cartoon into live action, and I thought it worked for the first one, was the Smurfs.
Yeah, actually, but that was CGI though.
Yeah, but you know.
Yeah,
that wasn't a bad transition, actually.
Yeah.
And the Gargamel character was pretty well done. That guy was really into that.
Yeah, it was the first one. The first one was good.
Yeah, the first one was the better one.
Yeah, but it's hard. It's hard to like the problem with taking a cartoon, and this is why Disney is failing so much, is whenever you take a cartoon and you try to make it live action, it just doesn't translate that well, because we can kind of have like a little bit more leeway with a cartoon. You can be a little bit more over the top with a cartoon, right? Mm-hmm. Seeing a rabbit get its head hit by an anvil in a cartoon is fine, right? But then if you make that a live action, it doesn't translate that well.
No.
We can kind of, let things kind of be a little bit more extreme in the cartoon. Like people can overact. They can be a little bit silly in a cartoon. But if you do that in a live action, it just comes across as being a little bit weird.
Yeah. So, and I thought about that when they said they were going to bring in the Creature Commandos in DC.
So they're going to do it as an animation, is what I
hope so. That's what I'm saying. I hope they keep that as an animation, because if they try to do that as a live action, I think they would totally lose it.
So did you guys read the Creature Commandos before the announcement? Did you know about the characters before?
I have some of the comics. I haven't read it yet. I think I have almost all of them. Maybe missing one or two. But I haven't read it yet, but I'm going to read it. But just looking at them and, knowing how that whole thing goes, if they tried to do that as a live action, I think it would fall totally off the rails, because it's not going to look right. You got the robot, you got Frankenstein and all of
Medusa.
that. Yeah, Medusa.
Yeah.
I don't know if it'll look right. It's going to look all weird.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to make those kind of things live action. But I think what I've heard is that they got voice actors. They're not doing it live action. They're doing it as a cartoon. Oh, okay. But I also heard that they do plan to make it a live action movie eventually.
Oh, no.
So I don't know where it's going to go. But I think things are a little bit up in the air with DC right now anyways, right? They're kind of transitioning between the old Vision and what's his name? James Gunn's new Vision for DC, right? So.
Oh, they're doing a live adaptation of One Piece.
Oh, that's where it's really hard to make it translate, because if you think about
One Piece is really weird.
Really?
Yeah, you got really weird things. You got the main character has got these long, he can kind of stretch and have weird things to his body, right? He ate the special fruit to make his body stretchy.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
But that the whole visual of it is odd, of the entire show, anyways.
But that's part of what makes it work. I mean, a lot of the visual, and that's why a lot of the time it doesn't translate to live action, because you have to have that same aesthetic. That
if it's not there, people will complain, and if you do it, it won't look right.
So you can't win either way.
Yeah. And I thought about that with like the Green Lantern and the Blackest Night, because like with the Green Lantern and you having all of the people from the Green Lantern Corps, like that pig guy, and they got all kind of weird creatures in the Green Lantern. They got that worm and all kinds of stuff. You can't really I mean, to put all that in CGI is just going to look cheap. So,
yeah,
you know, some things I think you should just look at, especially when it comes to comic books. Not all comic books. I think some comic books work, like the Shadow work, maybe Phantom Stranger will work. Certain comics I think would work, but other comics, it need to be like, okay, this is an animated series comic. You know what I mean? Like, just from looking at it, reading it, this can only be an animated series.
Yeah. Like,
I mean, I do think Batman does work as a live action.
Yeah, Batman does, but Batman is a human character. I'm talking about when you got like comic book characters that are not human, and then you want to make like a full-length movie, and then you end up with MODOK. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, MODOK I felt really bad for. I mean, that's a character.
Like Black Panther work, because Black Panther is a human in a costume. Luke Cage work, Daredevil works.
Yeah.
Punisher works. Human characters work fine. When you start venturing off into animals,
you got to be careful.
Yeah.
Or the interpretation. Like, I'm gonna step on someone's toes, I'm sure, but She-Hulk. If sensational She-Hulk, reading it in a comic is fine, but when you have to watch it, it's a different story. And everybody, if they had done it as Savage She-Hulk, it might have worked better. Make it kind of a sad story. Make give it that more of a dramatic feel. That's kind of what people were expecting.
Well, actually, I was hoping that they were going to go the comedic route, but be actually funny. That was. I think I had too high expectations. I think it could have worked, but the problem is they would have had to gone down that sexist route. Because if you look at the She-Hulk, sensational She-Hulk, it was very sexist, obviously.
Yeah.
And but that was part of the charm. It knew that it was sexist. It knew that, actually, strangely enough. One sec here. Bear with me 2 seconds.
Oh yeah, why are you looking for that blue flash? I heard that, and I'm hoping that's not true, because a few months ago they said the villain was going to be Mr. Freeze. So I was hoping that the villain would be Mr. Freeze. Then I heard more recently, a few weeks ago, that it was going to be Clayface, and then I was like, oh no, because if they do a proper Clayface, like in the comics or even on the animated series, and he did all of that shape shifting, it's gonna look really weird.
Unless they keep it simple and he just changes his appearance like he started off.
Yeah, and not like he did on the animated series where he was like a big blob of mud. If he just do like face changes and stuff like that, maybe it'll work. But if they get too campy, that's where they're gonna lose it, because I thought the Batman movie, the first one, was really good. I thought it was well done. I like that they took that dark approach, and it wasn't a origin story. We just started kind of jumping in. So when they said they were going to do Mr. Freeze, I was like, okay, this is a good pickup. You got a good character. You don't have to do much with him. You give him a little outfit and just keep going. But now they're talking about Clayface, so I'm like, I don't know about all that.
I was trying to find this book.
Okay, let me make it big.
So this is actually a really cute story. It's but it's it's sexist, and it's like he's trying to make her do the jump rope issue.
Oh, that's what he's doing. Oh, watch
she's like wearing and he's trying to get her to, like, there's no nudity inside, but it's like it's very infamous thing where she's like
as I recall, you can't see because she's doing it too fast or something. It's all blurred.
I forgot how they did it, but there was something where they basically made it so that you can't see anything. But it's cute. It's a cute idea, where obviously they know that she's a very sexy character, and they kind of play that up. but at the same time, they, there's a bit of tongue in cheek there. The problem is they can't do that in the modern era.
Yeah.
Women can't be women anymore. Women are not allowed to be women.
You
can't be sexy as a woman nowadays. You can't be like feminine. You have to be, strong and powered somehow. I don't know.
Yeah, Jeff, that's what we were saying. In the comics, the original Clayface just changed his face, but by the time they got to Batman, the animated series, he was a big blob of mud, and he could do all of this shape shifting and turning everything.
If you think about it, Clayface was kind of like Sandman.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Spider-Man Sandman.
Yeah.
Where he can kind of change shape and stuff like that. I always thought they were very similar characters.
Yeah. You can find similarities between a lot of characters like that from both of the big comic producers.
But I mean, Clayface is older, so.
Yeah. I mean, how many elastic characters are there? I mean, when you think about it, Plastic Man, Elongated Man, Mr. Fantastic. I mean, just off the top of my head.
I mean, but Plastic Man was first. That's the main thing.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and Gilgamesh, I think so. The Matt Reeves is supposed to be more realistic, and that's one reason why I like that Batman, because it was realistic, even down to the car. It was more realistic than the others. Now, I'm not saying that I didn't like the others, but this one felt more like, okay, that could happen.
Yeah.
So they said they were going to bring in Mr. Freeze, that was fine, because that could happen. You could have a person like that. He wasn't like all weird and deformed. And even when they had the Penguin looked just like a regular guy, not like what they did on Gotham, where he had the big nose and the weird feet and all that kind of stuff. He looked normal on the Batman movie.
Just scarred.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't mind when they do it where they can look a little abnormal, but you give them a backstory that explains that if you can. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but then the abnormality looks realistic. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it has to look realistic. Yeah.
Yeah, not like you're a mutant. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the Danny DeVito Penguin.
Yeah, Danny DeVito.
They made him too much a penguin. They could have played it up a bit differently, but
yeah, like because when they said the Penguin, that's who I thought of. But then when I saw the Penguin in the movie, the Batman movie, it was like just a regular guy, and it's like, okay,
but if you think about it, Danny DeVito's Penguin's probably the most accurate to the comics.
Yeah, and his was funny though, but just for like realistic factor, the realistic factor, the guy in the new Batman was more realistic, and like for Clayface, it just makes me think that they'll get too cheesy with it.
Yeah, I mean, I find you have to strike a balance, right? Like, I find one of the things that can be almost obnoxious is when they make everything too realistic. You know what I mean? Like, what happens nowadays is like, it's not only that they try to make everything so realistic that it's no longer an escape. It feels like you're just watching today, and they'll bring in all the politics and all the kind of other stuff to make it even more realistic. Oh, it has to be of this time. Whereas sometimes it's nice to have a movie where maybe it's not so realistic, but you go into that world where this is the reality of that other world. Do you know what I mean? Like Guardians of the Galaxy is a good example. The first one.
Yeah.
We don't have tree characters that go around, like that can expand bigger than what physics would suggest that they could. That's unrealistic, but you escape into that world of the Guardians of the Galaxy kind of idea. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think movies have to be hyper realistic personally.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, they have to behave normally. Like, they have to do weird, behave in a way that makes sense.
Yeah, and not look so cheesy.
Yeah, as long as it doesn't look too cheesy. Yeah.
Yeah, not too. And you're looking at it, and you're like, "What am I looking at? What are you trying to give me here?" You know, that's when it gets weird.
What's your favorite movie?
Oh gosh, I don't know. Because I'll see a movie and it'll be my favorite this week until I see another movie.
I don't know if we have a specific favorite.
Yeah,
like a favorite in the last couple of years. What would you say?
I like the Batman. I actually love that movie. That movie and the Joker movie of the last few years.
I actually really like the Joker movie.
Yeah, I love those two movies. Those two movies are actually my favorite movies that came out, I think, in the last 10 years.
Okay, so the Joker, the Batman movie, there's just a few things that really, really bothered me about that movie. And if it wasn't for those few things, I would have thought it was a good movie.
Okay, what?
So Batman, the Patterson one, he's like, he's a bit of a child in a way, like he's a bit of a like typical youth, doesn't appreciate the knowledge and wisdom of Alfred, for example, right? He wants to do his own thing, and that's fine. Actually, I don't mind that. But there was an opportunity for him to grow and become the Batman that we kind of know and recognize. And the opportunity came when Alfred got blown up, right? Where he's in the hospital and so that would have been a time for Batman to realize, hey, this person means a lot to me, that they almost died. I don't want him, he's like a father to me kind of thing. And he's also somebody that had he listened to more often, and been more mature, he would have prevented that from happening, right? So with that all in mind, he could have changed as a character and become more mature. But instead, he goes into the hospital, and the first thing that he does, Alfred's lying in the bed and half dead, and the first thing he says is, "You didn't tell me about blah blah blah. Like you didn't tell me about this thing," and he started blaming Alfred for something. He just acted like a spoiled brat again.
Yeah.
Instead of being like, "Are you okay?" The typical thing that people should do, right?
Yeah, and I get that, and I do agree, because when I saw that, I didn't like that aspect about his personality. But then during that same meeting, you see where he had like a little glimmer of, okay, I was wrong, and I'm thinking and I'm hoping that throughout he does grow, and does mature into that, because if he had did it too fast, then it would have been like, okay, the movie's done. But if he gets to the next movie, and then you can see that growth from
that's what I'm hoping. That's what I'm actually hoping, that they're playing the long game in terms of his growth.
Yeah, I'm hoping that too, because at first, when his interaction with Alfred, I didn't like, because I thought he was rude and disrespectful to Alfred, and all of the things that Alfred did for him, and it basically raised him. I thought he was kind of rude. But then in the hospital, when they had that little interaction, you could see that he realized he was wrong. He didn't say it, but you could see it in his face that he realized, okay, I was wrong for saying it. And I think Alfred kind of figured it out too, just from that little interaction. But yeah, I'm hoping that he would grow.
To be fair, in real life, most people wouldn't want to admit they were wrong anyway.
Yeah.
They'd drag that out if they could.
Yeah, that's true. And also, but at the same time, he should have been concerned.
Yeah. But I mean, he's a rich kid with everything. I kind of push it off on that. But I like that he wasn't deep into Batman. He just became Batman like a little while ago, like a year or so ago. You know what I mean? He hasn't been Batman 5 years, 10 years. He's only just become Batman, because when
2 years.
Yeah, I think it's like 2 years.
Year 2. It's supposed to be year 2.
Yeah. So like when he's using the equipment, he's falling and tripping up all over the place. So he's still kind of figuring things out. I like that.
Or like when he went to jump off the roof at the police station, he hesitated for a second, like, oh wait, do I really want to do this?
Yeah.
So he's not quite sure.
And then landed really hard.
Yeah, I think that to me made it more realistic. You know, because like when you saw Michael Keaton Batman, he was Batman already for like years.
Much more developed,
Yeah, and the same with Christian Bale. He was Batman for years. But then Patterson, he had like you said, he was 2 years in, still learning, still
rough
around
edges,
yeah.
The other thing that I would have liked to have seen a bit more of is him as Bruce Wayne. Being Bruce Wayne more. Because Bruce Wayne is very different than Batman. They're very different characters.
He hasn't figured out to disguise his personality yet.
Yeah, because he was still kind of like,
he was Batman at all times almost. He was like the depressed.
Yeah, he was a recluse instead of the millionaire playboy.
Yeah,
but maybe he hasn't developed that yet. Because when he went to the funeral, they're like, "Hey, isn't that Bruce Wayne?"
Yeah, we never see him. Where the hell
did he come from?
Yeah. But I thought that was okay. That was fine. I like that he was the detective and not
that was actually really nice. That I like I always like movies that have that kind of problem solving skills. It kind of reminded me of Seven.
Yeah.
I felt like it was the same kind of, you got to figure out how to save the next person that's going to get murdered, and
with all of these little clues and everything.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you a hot take. Tom Selleck should have been Tom Selleck, the dude was 6'4" and good jawline.
The only thing is, like, Tom Selleck, for some reason, like, he looks maybe the part, but I always see him as a bit comedic. Like,
not in Jesse Stone. Have you ever saw him in Jesse Stone?
No.
It's a good series. It's a good series.
Yeah. Jesse Stone is a series. It does connect. So you almost got to watch it in order. It's like made for TV movies. I think it's like 8 or 9 of them. And he's a police officer. He got into a lot of trouble in LA, and he packs up and moves to, I think, Maine.
New England,
some New England state, and
takes a job as a sheriff.
Yeah, in some really small town. And
is this a new series or older?
No, it's an older series. I think it came out in the early 2000s. Yeah, because it had cell phones. Yeah, it was like mid 2000s. But his whole attitude in that movie was good. It wasn't comedic at all.
Yeah.
He had a really good, he acted really good in
so he was more dramatic actor rather than like, I always found him in Magnum P.I. a bit of a, you can see the light side to him, right? It's like,
no, not in this movie. It was he was far removed from Magnum P.I. Nothing like Magnum P.I. He was very likable. Nobody, like the higher ups didn't like him because he had his own rules. He played by his own rules, his own game.
Not that he not so much that, but that there was he wasn't interested in the city council's politics.
Yeah,
and he was like, "Oh, fire me then." What the hell do you want?
Yeah,
that kind of an attitude. He didn't want to play their political game. They brought him in because he had a history of alcoholism, and they figured they could manipulate him, and he was like, "No, I'm going to do my damn job."
Yeah.
So, okay, that's cool.
Yeah. And so it wasn't like I'm just going to do whatever the hell I want, but more like, you've got some rules, we're going to stick to them. I'm not going to bend them because you're so and so and you're so and so.
Yeah,
it's a good series.
I agree that you'd have to get rid of the mustache, though. It'd be really weird to see Batman with a mustache.
He was supposed to be Indiana Jones anyway.
Who? Tom Selleck.
He was the original choice.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I mean, I think he could have done it. But I'm glad that they chose Harrison Ford.
It worked.
Yeah.
He did a good job.
But yeah, I think it would have been different movie. Very different. You know, there's so many times when you think, oh, what if it was this actor instead of that actor? You know what I mean? Like, and what would have that movie been like?
Yeah, because sometimes you'll see online they'll say, so this person was supposed to play it, but then we got this person, you know, and you're like, wow, if this person played, would it have been as good or would it have been better?
Yeah, you find out they turned down the part, or I think he was doing something else at the time and couldn't take it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so what if he was game? What if he was like, oh yeah, sure, I've got time, you know, and took that part, and then Harrison Ford would have went the direction of voice acting or something like Mark Hamill because he couldn't get another gig.
Yeah. I mean, the way it can ruin your career, right? You become whatever character it is that you get known for.
Or who was it? Will Smith turned down Neo.
Oh yeah, he was supposed to play
he thought the script was stupid.
Yeah.
I mean,
for the Matrix.
I think that was a good choice for us.
That was a definitive. Role.
I think Will Smith would have been a terrible Neo.
Yeah, they probably wouldn't have made 4 of them with Will Smith. I mean, he's not like a stellar actor. I mean, I don't even know if he's okay.
Yeah.
I saw iRobot. iRobot was okay, and that's it.
Yeah, iRobot wasn't bad. I mean, it was okay.
It's all right, you know.
Yeah, but he's not like breakout stellar. You know what I mean?
I actually liked him in Muhammad Ali, and I
didn't see it. It's kind of hard to screw that up, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're just doing like a biop of somebody's life,
and I've seen him in dramatic roles where he did like Pursuit of Happiness. That was good.
I
never saw that.
I saw that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was.
He won an award for that one, I think.
Did he?
He won an award. I think so.
I don't remember, but you know they that's awards are okie dokes nowadays. It's like a little behind the back handshake kind of deal to get Oscars and Emmys and stuff nowadays.
Well, I don't know how he picked that slap over that Neo.
But we think that was staged. We're convinced.
I have a feeling like I don't know. I think the whole slap thing was staged too.
Yeah. But they're too deep in it to back off now and be like, oh, we did it for ratings.
Yeah,
you can't sit because now you're all your credibility.
Because it doesn't make sense, like, you know, that you can walk up on stage and do that. Even, you know what I mean? That's like
the thing is, two things people need to know. One, the Oscars, it's live, but it's got a 2.5 minute
delay. Yeah, of course.
So they could have fixed that. 2, you've got 500 shots of audience reactions and 1 camera angle of the slap.
Yeah.
And then he still picked up an award after the slap.
After the fact.
Yeah. It was the whole thing was very silly.
Because I saw it like weeks after I saw, you know, the clip of the slap. And I'm like, oh wow, the way this looked, the whole walking up.
It looked very staged to me. Like
it did. So I'm like,
like it was like the thing was like it wasn't like if I'm going to slap you, like what I'm going to do is I'm going to go like really quick, you know, like I'm not going to be like I'm going to slap you, and then boom, like it was kind of like a big dramatic slap.
Yeah.
You know? Like if somebody came up to me like this, I'm going to be like, okay, I'll just back up a bit.
Yeah, you don't lean forward and close your eyes.
Exactly.
But, so I'm convinced that whole thing was staged.
Yeah, it seemed very fakey.
That was the first time they rated in years, and I always go back anyway to John Belushi, and I don't remember what the award was. He won an award, and it was in the early '80s, and he said, "I really appreciate this because the big ones you got to pay somebody to get them now."
Oh wow.
It's like, okay. Wow. I think there was a little truth in there.
Yeah, there's always like, even when they joke, there's always a little bit of truth, right?
Yeah.
And
there's another example because the part of
I'm Legend,
Bill Murray's part was originally written for John Belushi.
Bill Murray's part in Ghostbusters?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was supposed to be John Belushi's part, and I saw Dan Aykroyd in an interview talking about it, and he says that when he got the call, he was actually working on the script for Ghostbusters at the time, and that's the first thing that popped into his head. Oh crap! What am I supposed to do now? That's supposed to be John Belushi's part, and they
did John Belushi die before then, or
yeah,
he
died when they were writing it up,
and then they had to find somebody to fill in, basically.
Yeah, and they ended up with Bill Murray.
I think they chose well.
Yeah, Bill Murray I liked him in it.
Yeah, he's awesome. I'm a big fan of Bill Murray. Yeah.
Oh, I never heard that.
I'm not sure about that one. About
Winston's role to be Eddie
Murphy.
For which? Who's Winston?
Winston in Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters.
Oh, Winston. Oh, yeah.
I think Eddie Murphy would have been too much comedy.
Eddie Murphy.
Yeah, the guy did the guy that played Winston actually do anything afterwards? I don't know him as an actor. He couldn't
even get. And it's a funny story too. Is the Ghostbusters, the real Ghostbusters, the animated series? He tried out for his part on that show.
Oh, and he couldn't get into his own part.
He couldn't get it. They gave it to Arsenio Hall because they told him they didn't realize who he was and said that he didn't sound enough like the character from the movie.
Oh wow, that's terrible! Wow, I didn't realize was it really Arsenio Hall that played Winston in the animated?
Yeah, he did the voice acting for that.
Was he not big at the time?
I don't know.
I think that might have been before
he had the Arsenio Hall show.
Yeah,
because he got really big with the Arsenio.
Wasn't it in Living Color that he sort of became famous?
He wasn't in Living Color. Arsenio
Hall. What was the show? What was before Arsenio Hall though? What did he do before that?
Coming to America.
Yeah, he wasn't Coming to America.
Oh yeah, that's true. That was his big breakout role.
Yeah. It's probably
actually a cute movie.
Eddie Murphy's best film. The first, the second one's terrible, but the first one was pretty good. That's his best movie.
Yeah, he was good in that. And Trading Places.
Trading Places was good too.
And Distinguished.
I really like Trading Places.
Distinguished Gentleman is a hidden gem because it tells you the truth about how government works, literally. But then
what's the name of it?
Distinguished Gentleman.
He's a hustler who, because his name is identical to a senator who just died, thinks, he was like, I wonder if I run for office, if I can pick up votes and no one will realize it ain't him. And it worked. And it worked. And he gets there and he realizes, wow, these people are bigger crooks than I am. This is terrible, actually. But that was a good movie.
Yeah.
He got elected because he had the same name.
Yeah.
Hey, Punisher.
Punisher X, where you been?
He just tuning in.
Shame on you. That's 2 demerits.
Okay.
Hey, did you have any more books that you wanted to show?
A lot of the ones that I pulled, for some reason, I couldn't find my Golden Age stuff. I have a lot of modern ones. If you guys like modern stuff, I could show modern books.
I'm sure somebody does.
Yeah.
No, there's nothing wrong with modern books.
I can show a few just to kind of wrap it up.
Okay, that's good.
I'll show these. Well, I consider these modern, but yeah, these are all Silver Age and stuff. So we got
Silver Age is good.
Second appearance of Batgirl.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
And then we got. I always liked this one. I always thought it was cool.
I like that one too.
Oh, is that the one with the first appearance of Jokerfish?
This is the first appearance of Jokerfish.
Yep.
Don't I have that?
No.
Oh.
This is a great.
You were looking at it in a show and you changed your mind.
the whole story is like he wants to get the patent for those Joker fish, and so nobody's willing to give him the patent for them. So he kills them off every time until somebody gives him the patent for those fish. It's kind of weird. Death in the Family.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Now I like this one because this is the one where they kill him off. I think it's funny.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that was a cool idea. And then another one I have. Wait a second, can't see.
Uh-oh.
First appearance of what's it called? Anarchy.
Okay.
And what else? I'm not sure if the problem is when I brought out all the Superman stuff, I buried the ones I was supposed to show. Did I show this one?
No.
No. What's that? First Silver Age
Scarecrow.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, Scarecrow only I think appeared twice in the Golden Age, and then it wasn't until the Silver Age that they brought him back.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then we got the first appearance of Catman.
Oh yeah.
So he was actually a Golden Age character, but he wasn't part of DC, but they brought him into DC.
Mm-hmm.
Catman. And this is I just thought this was a cool cover. I have no idea if it's probably not important or anything. I just thought it was a cool cover.
Look at this.
Yeah.
Peeking on some woman.
Yeah, I just thought it was a cool cover. I don't know. And then we got first appearance of Man-Bat.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh, you got that signed.
I got it signed by Neil Adams.
Ah.
So, and then we got first appearance of Martian Manhunter.
That's the first appearance of Martian Manhunter?
Yep.
So
yep.
what do I have?
So he's kind of from the Silver Age, Atomic Age kind of time period.
I think I got him in bed.
And then we got the classic cover.
Oh yeah, that's my book right there.
Yeah.
Do you have the original one that was
no 31 Detective Comics 31? No, I don't have that.
Oh.
And then this is a modern one.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
This is the first Harley Quinn in continuity, right?
Yeah.
And this is a key that not many people know is a key, but it is a kind of a cool key. This is the first Catwoman story. Like first time Catwoman has like a solo story.
Oh, her origin or something?
No, it's just a solo story.
Oh, okay. I got you.
So, it's like a under the radar key. It's Batman 332. And then we got first Killer Croc. And then we have Legends of the Dark Knight.
Mm-hmm.
Dark Knight Returns.
Cover. Yeah. And we have, I don't know, this is just a cool cover.
Yeah,
like
that is cool.
The Riddler. One second, let me take it out of the plastic. It's really cool.
Yeah.
Martina.
What year did that come out?
This came out in 2020.
Oh, okay, so that's new.
It's really new, really new.
Yeah.
And one sec here. I'm getting kind of buried by books here. One sec here. I'm gonna put it here. Got just 4 more to show. First Red Hood. The modern Red Hood, I should say.
Yeah.
And then we got. I was saying about the new Batwoman girl.
Mm-hmm.
This is her first appearance. The first appearance of Batgirl, Cassandra Cain. And this is the one the movie was about. So if you like the Batman movie, this is the story where it came from.
Oh, the Long Halloween. Yeah, I saw the animated movie.
So this is what kind of the movie was based on loosely, because it's a different. I think it's in this. It's the It's not the Riddler. It's which character is it that is in this? That it's a different character.
It wasn't. You can. Yeah, it was some elements from the from that was in the movie, and you can see.
Yeah, but it's not the Riddler. It's
yeah, it wasn't the Riddler though. Wasn't it Joker?
Well, I thought it was a Joker too. I always think it's a Joker too, but I'm not sure. And then we got just a cool cover. I got this really cheap. Like I paid less than the cost of the slab for this book. So
that's because it's a 9.6.
Yeah, it's a 9.6. But it's a Joshua Middleton cover. Yeah, it's cool. It has a nice back too. Has this little. But yeah, so that's it. That's all the ones that I brought. There's a bunch more, but I just don't know where they are.
That's cool. You save it for the next time.
Yeah. So yeah, so that's it for today, I guess.
No, you're fine. We're almost at the 3-hour mark anyway.
Yeah, that's when you test people's endurance is when you get to that mark. Yeah. So how many people stayed with us the whole time here?
We got about we kind of averaged at 20.
Okay, that's pretty good that they stayed with us. Mm-hmm. We were babbling about random things and talking about
rambling about all kinds of stuff. So people like it when we ramble on. Ellen is a great guest.
Okay, thank you.
And remember, go to Alan's channel if you want to see specific books. You leave a comment on his most recent video and say, "Hey," because I know Kay,
my Wednesday video.
Okay, on his Wednesday videos, and that's the question and answer, the Q&A. Leave your question. Hey, Alan, do you have this? Can I see this book and that book? And if he has it, the following Wednesday, he'll read your comment out, and then he'll show the book. And he's pretty good at it. And he usually has the book that you asked.
Yeah.
Most of the time, not always.
Most of the time, he has the book. So,
we
want to thank you, Alan.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Thanks for sharing your time with us. Thanks everybody for popping in and joining us this evening for our collaboration. We appreciate it.
Yeah,
even though we didn't show anything, but
yeah. Well, you showed me a few books before we started the show. That's all that matters, right?
Yeah. But again, thank you guys for your questions and for your comments. We enjoyed them all, and we'll see you again next time. Bye.
Bye, everyone.